Mercury and Chiron are teaming up to become fearless this week. A new moon in Taurus is blessing me for my birthday, and we're making destiny real. All that and more coming up on Namaste Today Live. It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time for Namaste Today Live. Welcome, my friends. I'm Sensei Christopher Witecki here, streaming live on all of our platforms. We're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, X.com, formerly known as Twitter, and also Instagram. Wherever you are chatting anywhere, it's all being put into what we call a super chat. So you're being connected to all the other people. We are uniting the light with this program every Friday. Be sure to say hello and tell us where you are streaming from. I want to say hi back to some of our subscribers. Hello, Jamie. Hello, Jared. Noelle Way, our producer, is in the office. If you want to say hi to her. Hello, Erica. Hello, Christine. It's so nice to see you. Jill Louise, always a pleasure. Shiva, all of our favorites here. Carol is here. Jared is here. And also Stephanie Whittaker, Princess Coffee Bean. Great to have you here as always. Are you feeling the energy, folks? Oh my goddess. Things are getting really crispy. Can you feel it? It's not just because it's my birthday this week. I'm excited about that, but we have a lot to talk about with the planets because life is starting to accelerate like you have no idea how this is going to be. I can't even speak right tonight. Some of the highlights coming up astrologically this week, we do have Mercury and Chiron. The reason for that being significant is some fears will finally dry up, some fear puddles. Then we have a new moon in Taurus on my step birthday, step 18 Taurus. Is going to be Tuesday night, and that is the kickoff. So for one day, the whole world will feel like what it's like to be Sensei. And we have destiny becoming real. Saturn is saying it is time now to pursue your destiny. And tonight, I'm super excited. One of our favorite guests is back, a total friend and family member of the show. Numerologist Josh Seagal is here, one of the foremost authorities on numerology in the United States. We're going to dive deep about current events and some other fun stuff and talk numbers and astrology. But before we do, let's take a look at the week's moods and your zodiac weather. Weather is from Saturday, May 4th to Friday, May 10th, 2024. Looking ahead at your weekend forecast, it's going to be an easy breezy weekend where you come to realize what you deserve and your heart agrees. Let's drill down. On Saturday, it's partly cloudy and tender. Step 14 means that Mercury actually rules the day. It's a little tender because Moon is in Pisces and then moving into Aries, so you're starting to come into your strength in this day. But overall, what you're manifesting is a new perspective. You're responding to your feelings. And Mercury trining Juno, you're also trying to build sort of a symbiotic relationship just to reality. Overall, though, what you are doing is finding a new way of seeing what you deserve. On Sunday, it's partly sunny and charged. Step 15 means Venus rules the day, so you can open up, accept, relax. It's a creative resting and receiving day. You're manifesting negotiation. If you have a relationship that's important to you right now, you might find that the two of you come together and really understand some things. Things may feel like they are frozen in time, though. There's a 15-hour void of course, and you're being called to raise the inner bar and be more responsible for yourself. With the moon in Aries, you're feeling strong, but also feeling relaxed. Looking at the week ahead, the 5-day forecast, we're going to now take this new acceptance of what we're worth and catapult it and invest it into a more abundant future. On Monday, it's partly cloudy and expectant. Step 16 means that Neptune rules the day. It's somewhat spiritual and cloudy. What you're manifesting is your new manifest mission and opening up to a new adventure. What can happen next? Mercury conjoins Chiron, so your mind is more at ease with your prospects for the future. And the moon moving in from Aries to Taurus, you're starting to now feel the countdown to the new moon. On Tuesday, it's sunny and delicious. Step 17 means that Saturn now rules the day. You are officially manifesting progress. You're going to commit now to where you want to go and what you want to produce. With the moon in Taurus, you are feeling valuable, and the moon will apex into a new moon at 18 degrees Taurus at 9:21 Eastern Time. So the new moon will be that evening at step 18 at 9. So the new moon means that as you go to sleep or head for bed, you are now committed with your heart to make your heart's wishes come true. On Wednesday, it's sunny and fertile. In the aftermath of the new moon, you're still feeling that step 18 net 9 energy. Mars is now ruling the day. It's time to go for what your heart wants. The moon will shift from Taurus to Gemini, so you're going to find yourself kind of expedient in your thinking. But what you're manifesting is change on this day and planting the magic bean to make your fortune come true. On Thursday, it's sunny and dreamy. Step 19 means it's a Grandmaster day. Earth rules the day. And what you're manifesting today is abundance. You're also feeling excited with lots of ideas and communication, the moon in Gemini. And overall, what you're doing here is you're raising the stakes and taking your intentions to the next level. And then on Friday, it's sunny and chatty. Step 20 means you're now holding emotional space for the future. The moon is ruling the day. Only the moon is in Gemini. So your feelings are very tied to your thoughts. What you're manifesting is potential for the future, but you're slipping into a vortex. Things may start to feel a little dreamy and cloudy as the day progresses.
It's serious joy, joy, joy.
If you're watching on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Serious Joy TV. Hit the bell button so you're notified whenever we go live. And if you don't mind, please like this video so other astrology enthusiasts will be discovered by the magic of the YouTube algorithm. Namaste Today Live is sponsored tonight by UniteTheLight.love. We are now proud to say that we are offering streaming tickets. That's right. It cost us a lot of money, my goodness, but we've got a professional video crew that's going to be in there and capture the entire event. That's 2 8-hour days where you will see all the speakers on stage for our Saturday show and tell. We've got 6 speakers there. Backstage interviews with the talent when we're between gigs. That's going to be fun. And then Sunday, we have 4 panels that we'll be also covering in the live stream. Not to mention, this will all be in a webinar, basically, on Zoom. So everyone on Zoom can chat with each other. We'll also have some of our own Serious Joy celebrities sort of narrating in the Zoom as well and hosting that. It's going to be a digital party. It's about 10 hours of content, and you will have access to our exclusive Unite the Light portal, which we are building in the background. That will be only from people who have attended Unite the Light. And you'll have access to watch the video also after the event, should you be away that weekend and want to watch later. It's going to be a fun time. We said we were uniting the light. We didn't want to leave those behind at home. And we're really happy to meet those who are going to be able to be there in person with us as well. It's going to be an exciting time. You can purchase online tickets right now. Now, if you're a Serious Joiner, okay, and you subscribe to our Serious Joy service, you get $33 off this streaming ticket. You just have to log into the site, go to the pep talk, and to the top of the pep talk, we're going to post the savings code at the top of tomorrow's pep talk and Sunday's pep talk, the coupon code for Serious Joy subscribers to get $33 off at the time of purchase. But anyone can sign up right now. You will get immediate access to the special Zoom code and link when you purchase. Go to UniteTheLight.love, UniteTheLight.love, click tickets. I look forward to seeing you guys in the stream, and I will, of course, be hopping on the stream through the whole event. I think it's going to be a hard time for me to stay quiet, so anytime I'm not on stage, I'm probably just going to go to the stream and be like, what's up? What's going on? Real, give kind of behind the scenes sort of stuff going on. UniteTheLight.love. We look forward to this event. This is going to be amazing. I'll tell you why a little bit more, why it's going to be amazing in our next segment. So without further ado, let's move on to our weekly planets and transits. Oy vey, it's a very powerful, magical time right now, friends. I'm so grateful to be in this position. You're looking at, it's kind of funny. I'll just say right now, because it is my birthday week. Let's just get that out of the way, shall we? Actually, hold on. Let me actually pay a little tribute to my fellow Moos. My soul sister Moo, Kristen Ryder, her birthday will be this week. Moo, 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 moo. I love you, Kristen, my sweet sister. My buddy Bart Womack, also same birthday as Kristen Ryder. Moo, 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 brother. It's always a pleasure. I did not catch Mara Moon last week. Hello, Mara. Happy belated birthday, step 6 Taurus. Also, Morgan Morgan. I'm not going to try to say your last name, dude. But happy birthday to Morgan also, which is the same birthday as Kristen, Bart, and Morgan. They're all together and they're all part of Serious Joy. I've been packing Serious Joy with Tauruses. We look like a cattle ranch. When you come over to one of our company meetings, it's a moo fest, man. We just sit there chewing our curd, talking about what's going on. We have one Sagittarius in the company, and she expects to stay exclusive, by the way. Her name is Heather Exposito, and she'll be the hostess, the master of ceremonies at Unite the Light. I forgot to mention that as well. But happy birthday to my fellow moos. And I got to say, this birthday, my goodness, let me just share. I don't usually share my own stuff, but I'm going to share my own stuff. This has been quite a recovery year. If you guys remember, I was off the air for 11 months because I went down with my Chiron return karma. It was really tough. But the hardest thing I've ever gone through, frankly, but also the most rewarding. It's given me super, it's sort of like I became Gandalf the White at that point when I came back. Like I died. I said, "Ye shall not pass." And all we did was we saw Sensei fall over the edge. And then like suddenly he was gone for 11 months and he came back with white hair. That's basically what it is. But coming back, right? Like I just got into the seat and just started trying to recover my company. I had a wonderful team that kept us going while I was gone, recover the audience. I was so grateful to find that everyone came back to watch. So thank you for having faith in me and waiting for me and leaving a candle lit. I haven't had a chance to really say thank you to my audience and my friends and everyone who supported me in that event. I was so focused, just getting back to where I was, when I first got back. And it's now been about a year. I came back on the air in the end of May, at least for Serious Joy. And here I come back after that incredibly hard year. Uranus on my sun for 97 days is what happened. And Chiron returned at the same time, boom, boom, from the planets. And the year I come back, God gives me a new moon on my birthday. Seriously? Like that's where I'm like, whoa, it's the new moon is on my step number. It's a step 18 new moon. We're going to talk about that, which I have to say is thanks God. You know what I mean? Like it's just amazing. Of course, I had no idea that was going to be the case. I didn't even get a chance to look at this year's planets. I looked at it maybe in January when I was on vacation in Mexico, and I was like, oh my God, there's a new moon on my birthday. Like I had no idea. So thank you, God. I like to thank the Academy. I like to thank everyone. And I'm very happy on this birthday. It's a very happy birthday for me. It's going to be a net 6 year, which means I'm going to be able to relax into who I am and really, be comfortable in my own skin. And I got to say too, and that's how you feel after Chiron return, by the way, you feel comfortable in your own skin is what it feels like, just to relay the message. I've been talking to other Chiron returns lately. You finally stop fighting yourself about silly things that you realize never mattered, but you did anyways. Crazy being a human, isn't it? It's just absolutely crazy. But I'm enjoying the ride. And speaking of that, let's talk about this great adventure in this flesh suit. I was saying the other day, we're basically in a virtual reality. Life is a virtual reality game with flesh is what it is. We basically come down and everyone on the planet. So speaking of that, let's go kind of crazy wild. It's like, I believe that we come down into Earth to work out our problems in this virtual reality we call life. And we sign up for different tours, basically. These tours are tied to certain lessons that we want to, or certain things that we want to experience. Lessons come from the experience, but sometimes we're just tourists. We're just spiritual tourists that want to be like, oh, well, I wonder what it's like to be an Asian man in the 20s, like that's a tour. Like right now, it's so funny that they're creating virtual reality games where you can be anybody in any time. And it's like, that's already what we're in. So you're building a virtual reality game and a virtual reality game. And this can go on forever, right? But point being, I believe that we sign up for certain events in our life to happen, chapters, if you will, lessons, if you will. And I'm absolutely convinced that we have shifted chapters since March. And I talk about this in the mega monthly reports on seriousjoy.com. My monthly report, I talk about how this month is really the accumulation of all of our spiritual work that we've done since Pisces. So the sun entered into Pisces this year. Saturn was already there. We had already cleared off, basically faced our karma. Oh, we have an echo? Oh, inputty as well. Gotcha. Sorry, I'm not sure what you're saying there, Sarah. Anyways, we got sidetracked there, trying to keep our eyes on everything. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Um, we basically in March were invited to step out of a spiritual lesson with ourselves, right? Like that we had been one of our tours that we had signed up for in heaven before we, beamed down here was basically to clean up basically the first part of our lives was to clean up all these loose ends in other past lives, and we've been a mess. And when we say clean up, we basically mean clean up in the sense of if if you're killed and murdered, you got to clean up that life, right? If you do something wrong and you're sent to jail and you don't grow because you're in jail the whole lifetime and you don't experience stuff, you got to pick up that life. So we all have loose ends, loose past life ends, basically. And so I believe up until this March of 2024, no matter what age you are, so if you're 96, your whole life was about loose ends so far. It's good for you. Go for 100. Okay. Um, at that point, we close them off and close the book, at least for now. And I think maybe you got to all of them. When you get to heaven, you'll get an inventory. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. So I'm sure there's some leftovers that we skipped out of, but for the most part, we ate all of our vegetables. We took our spiritual vitamins and we have cleaned out our soul as much as we're going to be able to as far as a deep cleaning, like a dental deep cleaning. We've done that now, and now we move onward. Okay. And as we move onward, we have this other bucket list item that we chose to do on the earth: save planet Earth. Save yourself, save planet Earth. And planet Earth does need to be saved. I'm not talking from a perspective here. It is complex was the word I was looking for desperately there just now. Complex. Ultimately, we have screwed up the environment. We've screwed up the food table. We've screwed up the dirt. The soil is not really going to do really well. From what I understand, our soil is depleted. Our oxygen is depleted in the atmosphere. We've stretched the resources. We've really screwed up our ability to be able to get pregnant and have babies. The birth rate is really low. Like, we're in bad shape. And I'm an optimist. I believe the whole plan is to clean it up. Actually, I think there are three plans. Let's just get back to our three Earth theory. I do believe there are three Earth. I do believe you can take at this point. So here we are down in this virtual reality game that includes flesh, okay, in the flesh. And so in this reality game, we've been in this so far, and we come to a fork in our reality road. And that fork is, do you want to take the road where the Earth is destroyed and just ride that puppy down and see what it was like? So sort of like a train wreck sort of thrill ride. Do you want to stay on the struggle bus where you're proving how strong you are, stay in the gym, keep getting stronger from relentless tension? Or do you want to exit onto Earth 3, where we raise the vibration of the Earth to 5D consciousness? From what I understand, all three of these Earths actually live side by side energetically and are simply a vibrational phase apart. That's what I understand. Just a vibrational phase apart. That's all I know about it. I'd tell you more if I knew more, but I'm downloading this stuff as we go. That said, we began to exit and take our choice last March in Pisces is what happened. In March, we started to make our choice of which way we wanted to go. Many of us were, hit the turn signal and we were leaving the struggle bus and heading for, it's a long exit, by the way. It's a long exit onto the next Earth, FYI. And right now you could theoretically steer off the shoulder and back onto the struggle bus or onto the world being destroyed bus if you want to. So that's also possible if you want. But in essence, from March, once we made our choice, then we went into Aries in April, and we had the great solar eclipse at step 19 Aries. That was on April 8th. And in that moment, that was the grand I am. That was the birth of the grand I am. Now, what's interesting, if you're wondering how this works, Everyone on every bus has a grand I am. If you're on the earth that's being destroyed, you're granding I aming. You're standing taller because you're about to go up with the fight of your life. If you're on Earth 2, you're still grand I am because you're going to try to toughen up and grow taller from all your mistakes. And if you're on Earth 3, the grand I am is I am going to be multidimensional. I am going to shift perspectives. I'm going to rise in my frequency and let go of all my spiritual garbage, the spiritual junk in my trunk. And so we all made this grand I am statement. As we move now on to May, welcome to May. This May is the grand I manifest month. So what's going to happen is no matter what earth you're on, you're going to manifest a profound manifestation. This month is so fertile. This is the most fertile month for manifestation I have ever witnessed in my entire life studying astrology. From what I can tell, it is the most fertile month all the way back to World War II. That was the last time we were this productive as far as what we are creating. And you got to know that productivity, that miracle grow that God is sort of pouring onto the plant garden of earth, that will grow everything. It will grow your drama out of control, a virus out of control, an infection out of control, tension out of control. Anything can be grown out of control or grown too far or overgrown. Let's put it that way. Anything can be overgrown, including the nice manicured garden that you are, of the things that you want to grow in your garden. So we're going to grow. You're going to grow whether you like it or not in the next 30 days. And it comes from just the string of energies that play out over the month. Now, the first energy, the first miracle grow, dose of miracle grow, will be on my birthday. Just going to say it more and more. That's right. Happy birthday. You will get to experience what it's like to be Sensei for 24 hours as the moon just like plays my tune to the earth and just blasts it up. It will be loud. There will be a lot of bass. I'll tell you that right now, but it'll be fun. And, it'll be over when the sun comes up. That's pretty much how it goes. But in reality, 18 degrees Taurus is a very fertile degree because it's a fire starter. So basically, if you want to like line up your spiritual golf swing to hit a hole in one with what you're creating, basically you want to basically come to the tee, right? On the new moon, which is on Tuesday. On the new moon is when you basically you put the golf ball down, all right, in order to, get a hole in one, basically, all right? The next point where things get manifested even more is Mother's Day, May 12th, which is also a day I'm attending a Human Garage event in Austin, Texas, by the way. I'll be at the Human Garage event. If y'all are garagers watching, I'll see you there. But it's also a step 22 day. And on that day, the universe then basically hits the golf ball and starts to go take air, basically. So you're going to have your event that you launch. You basically swing. Let's take this back. Hit the ball on my birthday. On Mother's Day, it goes higher. That's really the best way to do it. You do hit the ball on step 18, come to think of it. You don't just tee up. We teed up already. On Mother's Day, whatever you have in the air goes higher at step 22. So it goes higher at that point. Then on May 18th, at the Unite the Light event, which we chose specifically for this astrology on May 18th and 19th, the sun conjuncts Jupiter at 28 degrees on that Saturday. Venus conjuncts Uranus at 23 degrees. And so that is a super booster rocket of that golf ball go even higher. Okay. So your project will go even higher on the 18th and on the 19th. Then on May 23rd, Venus conjoins Jupiter at 29 degrees Taurus, and that boosts it even higher. Okay. So this is why it's the most fertile manifestation month I have ever witnessed in my life, because God has set this up like a staircase. The only way you can avoid this is to go to the moon. Everyone is going to be in this. Now, it's going to start a little bit of chaos on the planet. I think things are going to get a bit energized. And then basically Jupiter moves into Gemini shortly after Unite the Light, and the sun goes into Gemini. And then as the sun goes into Gemini, we kick off the summer of love. Woo, woo. Serious. Summer of love. First thing you fall in love with is you. So everyone is going to fall in love with themselves in their mind So it'll take a while to sort out our fantasy from our reality. We're going to be in a big thought bubble for the entire summer, basically. And we're going to be in love and starting to get passionate about ideas and each other. There will be a lot of people connecting, I think, starting this summer. And when I say connecting, I mean, and I've said this a few times, let's just put it out there. I believe that a lot of people up in their holly, when you go up to your heaven playlist, as far as what was going to play here in this virtual reality game, you set up to meet the one after you cleaned out all your garbage. So many of us have waited for the one until after we had healed and closed up our garbage, because many of us came here for the moment we're about to experience on Earth. It's time to save Earth or switch buses. Okay. On bus 3, we're going to heal the Earth and we're going to clean up the environment. That's what we're doing on bus 3. Get on any bus you want. And I think we flip between buses, all the time, frankly, if you want to get super nerdy on this. So this month is the month where, in essence, you are going to manifest. If you don't do anything and you're not aware and you don't plant seeds of intention, by the way, you're going to manifest what your heart wants. Okay. Simple as that. You're going to manifest what your heart wants. And I guess this is a good time to just let everyone know, if you're listening, I do have a webinar tomorrow. Okay. Where I'm talking about how to use the magic of May to your aid. And I'll be taking people on camera in the Zoom meeting, and we'll be going over their charts in the Zoom meeting. We'll be sort of troubleshooting how to manifest. So I have a special webinar tomorrow. It will be it is at 12 Pacific, which is 3 p.m. Eastern is what time it's to be. If you want to know more about it, go to senseiChristopher.com, senseiChristopher.com. The reason I'm doing that right now with that is because I don't want to forget at the end. I have so many things to promote right now. It's hard to keep up. So the point is that you don't have to necessarily have, something all worked out. I don't want you to sit there and have FOMO and basically worry that you're going to miss this opportunity. You're going to grow, and anything you have in your heart, that is a desire, is going to grow automatically in the month of May. In fact, there's 2 categories that will base it on growth. Okay. It is, first of all, step 1, what you love. So if your heart loves something, it's already primed to grow. The other is step 0, which is the number 10. When you put the 2 together, 1 and 10, step 0, which is I protect. So if you protect and shelter or hold sacred something your heart desires, okay, it will naturally grow. It's that simple. It's as simple as, if you have, let's say you have a flower and you love this flower and you want more flowers, and you put that flower underneath a glass on the table on the counter. Everyone walks by and sees that flower and goes, oh, what a pretty flower. I want that flower. I want a flower like that. Every time a person says, I want that flower, that energy draws in. Why do people care about that flower? Because it's under this protected glass. And because it's under this glass, it's somehow special. And that's basically how manifestation works. If you have a wish in your heart and you hold it sacred or special, okay, then that wish in your heart basically will start to attract things to it. So anything you're holding in your heart sacred and special in the month of May is going to grow. And how fast and how far, that depends on how big of a wish. If you wish, let's say, to have your own mansion on the lake and you don't even have a job, then the first thing you're going to attract is the job. Okay. Like, you're not just going to get a Publishers Clearinghouse winning ticket and suddenly have a free mansion. It doesn't quite work that way. There is a cause and effect. There is a timeline. There is a way of leading up to it. So depending on how big the wish determines how far you get to run. But for those who have wishes that have been running this whole time, okay, and who have been planning this whole time. And by the way, I had been coaching this whole time. Okay. Like, I've been coaching. So if you've been watching my show, you've been on the timeline, you've been prepared. I've been preparing you for this and getting you ready to take advantage of this amazing energy. Then for those who are ready to pop or bloom, this will be an amazing month of bloom. So there'll be incredible blooming going on this month. And it really starts this week. All right. Yes, drama. Just saying hi to people in here. Nice to see you guys. Nice to see everyone. Deborah, Lori, Sarah, Dana. All right. So let's take a look at this week ahead. The theme this week is manifesting my heart. Manifesting my heart is the theme. That's basically what you're doing this week is you're saying, I want my heart and my dreams to come true. And what we did prior to this, leading up to this, and I haven't even talked about how crunchy and crazy the energy has been. It has been really tough, but we were sort of filling in our self-worth and stepping into. So after that grand I am, the very first thing we had to do is sort of give ourselves more credit for who we are and what we've learned. And so that's what we've been doing up until today. We've been giving ourselves more credit. So now that we have this credit, we've given ourselves a higher spiritual credit rating, basically. And you could say you're giving yourself the spiritual credit rating of Earth 3, your Earth 3 credit rating, basically, because you could say credit is tied to an Earth, so it's all platinum, I guess, on Earth 3. Woo, right? So, but the point is we gave ourselves this credit rating, this new inner credit rating, and it's from this new inner spiritual credit rating that we now manifest our heart's desires. And by the way, that's what step 18 is. The new moon is at step 18. My sun is at step 18. It literally means a life of manifesting your heart's desire, to be committed to your heart. Commit is 8. So committed to your heart, to the 1, and to act on that commitment, net 9, which means the fail-safe switch of whether or not it manifests is literally whether or not you act on it. So for people just sitting, on the couch thinking about it, not going to manifest. There's a fail-safe switch. Okay. Now it will grow, but it may not manifest. And we want to make these distinctions right now. There's going to be miracle grow. So everything's going to grow. That love, that flower underneath the glass, that wish is going to grow. That wish is going to grow this month. You're going to wish like you've never wished before. If you want it to come true, you've got to turn the key and you've got to do something. You got to get off the couch and you got to do something. You got to show the universe, yes, you are ready, because God's not going to pass you the ball if you're not going to go running down the field and act like you're going to catch it. God's smarter than that. The matrix is smarter than that. You have to be willing to act. So this new moon that happens when you manifest your heart this week, the new moon is on Tuesday night. Now, for those who are Serious Choice subscribers, we have an amazing ritual set up with Joe Zammit right now. You can watch the video. We've given you the details of how to do an amazing, magical keepsake ritual that will allow you to sort of put into motion. Ritual is motion, right? So this is one new moon that requires ritual, okay, to make it happen. Any net 9 new moon requires action or ritual. All right. Action is a ritual, by the way. So you sign the mortgage. That's an action. That's a ritual. Okay. So that counts. So actual business stuff counts. Literal stuff counts. But in essence, if you don't have any of that stuff, you do some sort of action. So come Tuesday, we commit to what our heart wants. You decide and commit to what your heart wants. Part of that committing to what your heart wants is to also say to what you don't want right now. And this is a secret to manifestation, actually, that I'm going to share with y'all right now. And that secret is most people need to say what they don't want to have happen and what they do want. So if you don't define what you don't and do want, okay, and it's not being negative to say you don't want something, you're saying not now. You're not saying no to forever. You're saying not now, not now, not now, not now. Now. So you want to basically create boundaries. That 0 and the 10, those are distinctions. The 0 is saying nothing here, just the 1. So that's also a secret to manifestation, that you have to single out what it is you want from what it is you don't want. And so part of the boundary structure will be to be clear on Tuesday, not now, not now, not now. So we're saying maybe another time, but not now. What does that do? It focuses all the creation energy on one seed, or in my Diamond Eggs group, it's usually about 3 seeds. These are super manifestation people that are on the super manifestation path. And most of them are manifesting 2 or 3 things at once. That's a master path. If you're new at manifesting, start with 1, have 1 backup. That's always my recommendation. Have 1 and 1 backup. You always want a backup of what you're going to manifest because you want to be able to be detached. My philosophy to manifestation is good or gooder. I'll take that or something gooder. And the reason why I use the word gooder, even though I spit all over myself, is because the word does not exist. It's not a real word. It's a word I own the consciousness of. And so I can populate what gooder means according to me. So that's another secret to manifestation. Don't borrow other wizards' spells or words. Okay. Because they come with that person's consciousness attached to it. That's why you want to create your own words if you can, or titles or original signatures, so that you can hone all your creation energy into the specific only thing you want. And you want it good or gooder. Okay. And that allows you to go, I'm going to get what I want or something better. That's the best detachment. These are my secrets of manifestation I've been working on for 18 years. You want to know what's interesting? This is my 18th year on YouTube. This is my 18th year doing horoscopes on YouTube. I am a step 18. And on my 18th year, the moon was at 18 degrees Taurus. Interesting, huh? Just saying. Yes, I pay attention to the numbers, rather frantically and obsessively. So, in essence, what we're doing with manifesting our heart this week is you're saying, this is what my heart wants, gooder, gooder. I'm not ready for this, this, or this, or this. Gimme, 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 God. I'm waiting. Thank you in advance. And I also have an little extra saying that I say, but I actually keep that behind closed doors. So my serious joiners know I have a phrase, a zippity bobbity boo, that is just true to me and what I have learned. And that you have to be a subscriber to hear. I'm just going to tell you right now. There's some things I don't say for free in public, okay, for a lot of reasons, because they're so valuable. They need to be behind a paywall where people mutually respect the knowledge. So there are some extra secrets that I have dashed in here. In fact, I have a series on Serious Joy called The Secrets to Manifestation that walks you through all 29 steps plus 0 of manifestation, and helps you carry manifestation through a full 30-day cycle, by the way. Those are already streaming live on the timeline right now. So just promoting myself on my birthday. I guess I have a right to. I have a right to promote on my birthday, right? That said, I also have a right for a little sip of coffee. Let's just take a sip. Tea, actually. All right, so we are manifesting our heart this week. The subplot of the week is making destiny real. Making destiny real. We are going to manifest what we call destiny, is basically one of the things we decided to do in heaven. And this week, what you are basically doing by planting these seeds is you are basically planting in that destiny that you programmed to bring to the world in this lifetime. So making destiny real, as the subplot, is what you're doing in your heart. Your heart is, I was destined for this, I was destined for that. If you were destined, if you say I am destined for, and your heart's like, yeah, that means you are. Okay. Now the question is it this life? That's what I don't know. Is it this life I'm going to do that? But I know it's on my bucket list, and that's all destiny is. It's a spiritual bucket list of what you're going to do in the virtual reality flesh game. Okay. Energetically. So we are going to make that real this week. And when I say make it real, I really mean also that it's time to play the part. It's time to put on the suit. It's time to put on the music. It's time to put that pep in your step. It's time to go ahead. It's not you fake it till you make it. It's like you make it you play that role and be it until it arrives. You be it until it comes. It's not fake it till you make it. You be it till you come. What you be is what comes. So it's time to be the new version of you, starting on, it'll probably be Monday, actually, that you actually start to be that new version of you fully. The key question of the week is, what is transforming in my daily life? What is transforming in my life, specifically my daily life? And the reason why you want to spot what's transforming is because you want to keep an eye on the new golden eggs that are hatching. You want to know what is transforming in life. Oh, look, it's been updated. Daily life. Very good, Sarah. That was a fast manifestation. It went away, changed clothes, and came back. What is transforming my daily life? So to know, okay, this is changing and that's changing, and I'm changing this and I'm changing that, and I'm changing the locks and I'm changing my name and I'm changing my, so knowing what's changing sort of basically puts conscious attention on the transformation of the change. It also, with the Earth in Scorpio, keeps you aware of what's opening and what's closing, where the boundaries are. When the sun's in Taurus, the earth is in Scorpio, which is the earth I manifest boundaries. So when we're manifesting life, we're also simultaneously manifesting boundaries at the same time. Isn't that interesting, by the way, that in Taurus, we're also double manifesting. We're manifesting both what our heart is wishing for, and we're creating new boundaries. And the boundaries are, boom, it's arrived. It wasn't here before, and now it is here. So sometimes the boundaries are just dead obvious. Like it's suddenly what we thought it was. All right. So let's look at the transits of the week and talk about the planets of the week. Before I dive into the actual first planet, I just will say the other big theme that's important is on Monday. So before the new moon on Tuesday, on Monday, Mercury conjoins Chiron. And the importance of this is that the mind will now find a way to look at the future that is not scary. So this is part of making our destiny real as well, is that we are realizing how to be careful not to repeat the history. And the fact that Chiron is in the third decan of Aries, okay, yeah, I mean, I just went down a rabbit hole and came back. I don't know if you just saw that. I was just like, oh my God, this is so profound. But the fact that Chiron in Aries is in the third decan of Aries, when we move to Earth 3, means that we are ultimately choosing with the Chiron in the third house or the third decan, we're saying we don't want to repeat history. All right. So if Chiron was in the first decan of the house, we wouldn't be exiting and creating this with the commandment or the sauce in the manifestation of don't repeat history. All right. That's pretty powerful. For an individual person, that don't repeat history has to do with your own bucket list of things that you feel went wonky in your life or whatnot. All right. Let's take a look at the planet, shall we? Where did I put that printout? I don't even know. Here we go. Oh, here it is. I have a whole bunch of shelves here. So starting with the sun and Taurus. Right now in Taurus, we have a whole melody of planets going on right now. We have Venus in Taurus, the sun in Taurus, Jupiter in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus. Hello, Taurus. There we go. So funny. And in this array of Taurus here, Venus has just entered the scene. So you might have felt that. I mean, this is sort of a wonky energy. We had Mars enter into Aries this week. Boy, did I feel that. And we had Venus entering into Taurus. So it's kind of like God gave us more RPMs, but also gave us some better shock absorbers. So we got better shock absorbers, but we also increased the RPMs and decided to turn off the road. So we are opening up now. Venus and Taurus is saying it's time to open up to our new value of ourself and our new feeling of what we are worth. So opening up to that new self-worth. The sun goes from 14 to 20. And so we're going to basically on Saturday tomorrow make a decision at 14. Okay, this is what my mind wants. On 15 Sunday, we go, am I sure this is what I want? Is this what my heart really wants as far as what I'm going to manifest in my heart? And then on Monday, we pray back and forth. And on Monday, Mercury conjoins Chiron. So we sort of go, okay, I'm not going to repeat history. I know that. So we check that off of our list and we put a knot into the spell. Nope, not that, not now. Then on Tuesday, we decide, okay, this is what I want. Then Tuesday night, my birthday, new moon. Okay, my heart's going for it. This is what my heart wants. Let's do it. So we basically launch Tuesday night, Wednesday, where you then act, you do something symbolic or literal to make your dream come true. Okay. Do something symbolic or literal to make your dream come true. If your dreams are already in motion, like you've already got phone calls out, you're already negotiating deals, then you are in motion. I still would add something to that anyways, just to show God, like, God, you know, you got my order, right, God? Like, I do want to do this. I'm serious. I'm real serious. See, I'm doing it. You know, I think we need a little bit of that. I mean, that's how I've always manifested. Look what we've done together. And then we hold space on Thursday, which is a Grandmaster manifestation step 19 day. So we have an 18 new moon and then Grandmaster 19 Taurus. That's what I love about being an 18 Taurus. The next step is Grandmaster, always one step away from Grandmaster. And then come Friday, a week from now, we start to feel this thing take off. Starts to take off, basically. Okay. So we check in next week, next Friday. We'll be holding on to the hands. We'll be holding on to our seats here going, oh my gosh, here we go. It's about to happen. It's like a roller coaster kind of feeling. Now, of course, in the high heavens, we have Jupiter from 24 to 26. So 24 Jupiter's like, bring it. Like I'm open to unlimited possibilities. God knows step 25, I meant to do it. 26, bring it. I command it, bring it. So our heart yells, bring it, as Jupiter hits step 26. Uranus at quantum step 22. This is basically what's holding the door open between the three buses. Uranus is the number 22. 22 is the elixir degree. It is a degree in which we switch dimensions to whenever it adds to 4, that is the door to the other reality or the other dimension. So Uranus is holding the door open for you, saying, okay, if you want, you can jump in now before Uranus goes to 23. Okay, so this vortex is open basically, and this is the party going on in Taurus. Very, very powerful, energetic. Jupiter, by the way, hits 25 on Wednesday and 25 on Saturday and 26 on Wednesday. So the day after the new moon, Jupiter goes, I command it, do it, you commit. So literally the timing is perfect. If you can watch how the God is firing off with the planets, it's just amazing. Now moving back into the artifacts of Aries, we have Mars in Aries, Mercury in Aries, North Node in Aries, and Chiron in Aries. Ooh, I love the red glitter here. Looks good in this red part of the universe. It is very red in Aries. Mars goes from 3 to 7 degrees. So what this is doing is kicking Astro and taking names. We have the motivation. You probably felt Mars come into Aries to sort of amp things up and made everyone a little bit irritable, a little bit snappy. What'd you say? What'd you say? Like that sort of stuff. So we do have that, but that sharpness allows you to be limber and be quick, okay, and jump over that candlestick, all right? So you have the energy to go right now. But be careful about injury or pushing things too far. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Mars in Aries can cause injury because people have the superpower to go a little farther than usual. Mercury catching back up from 19 to 24 degrees. And basically that is your mind. You're becoming mindful of the great I am. Your mind is now adopting basically the program. Your mind is now thinking in the right alignment. North Node still at 15, saying the path of least resistance is the launch ramp. So launch with the path of least resistance. North Node does go to 14 later in the month, where you will sharpen precisely what you aim for. But right now, we just don't want to blow up. Path of least resistance. And Chiron goes from 20 to 21 this week. And remember, Mercury crosses Chiron, and 21 is the story. So what we're basically saying is, I don't want this to have a bad ending. I don't want this story to end up where I'm sick. I don't want this story. So we are sort of calculating the story that we want to heal and the destiny that we want to live on with Chiron there. And of course, as I said, Mercury will cross Chiron on Monday, where our mind holds space for that. Moving on to the moon, it is an aggro week, I have to say. Right now, the moon is moving into Aries, so we're going to countdown. It's going to be pretty anxious over the weekend. The degrees are very hyper on Saturday, so you'll have a hard time calming down for my webinar, which is on senseichristopher.com, shameless plug. But I do think things start to really gear up and get kind of, what's the word? We start just kind of amping up, basically. That moon in Aries just amping up. Plus the moon crosses that melody of red we just saw. Mars, Mercury, Chiron, the North Node, they all get crossed by the moon. So we all get sort of ramped up into the grand I am, sort of beating our chest over the weekend, getting ready for this hoo-ha, hoo-ha. The moon moves into Taurus Monday night, starts to shift now. Once the moon goes into Taurus, realize you will replay any doubt of self-worth. So the universe might say you got to reaffirm that worth again, own it, kind of ramp up, remind yourself what you're worth as you tell the universe you want your heart's dreams to come true. Then, of course, we move into Tuesday. We have the new moon, boom, pop. Wednesday, the moon goes into Gemini, and we start thinking, our emotions just start thinking about how great this is going to be as we're sort of beating the drums of our mind and how excited we're going to be. Really planting the seeds of the summer of love once the moon goes into Gemini. Meanwhile, in Virgo, Black Moon Lilith is playing the Wicked Witch of the skies. She goes from 23 to 24, but she is reminding you of fears you have about having the wrong idea and facing fears about being stuck in the wrong relationship. So if any relationships are on the fringe, I do have to say the astrology is saying that this might be that you're meant to be on different buses. And so you might be feeling that it's not going to work. That will be very clear this week if it's not going to work. But facing fears at 23, 24 is basically that, just making sure that we have our mind in the right place as to how things will turn out. right? That we want things to turn out in a good way. Moving on to Pisces, this is the spiritual story that has been changing. This is really where we are making destiny real because Saturn goes from 16, which is the grandmaster degree of Pisces and of Neptune. So 16 is the magic degree. Saturn at 16 is saying, yes, this is the bucket list in heaven I chose. Yes. It's sort of like God sends, like Saturn's like, okay, you do approve that you're changing your life right now. Another disclaimer, you waive God, indemnity to God that he's not responsible for the mistake you're about to make. And, so there's a lot of like coming up of like, yes, I affirm. Yes, I affirm. So there's going to be a lot of the universe saying, are you sure? Are you sure? You're sure now. This is the life you want. And that's not the universe talking you out of it. That's the universe saying, we want you to sign an initial here and here. So Saturn going to 17 degrees is basically saying, yes, you must sign an initial. By the way, those initials are tomorrow. Saturn hits 17 degrees on Saturday. So you basically are going to sign up for it on Saturday. And warning, Will Robinson, Neptune is now at 29 degrees. I talk about this in the Mega Monthlies. It's available on SiriusStory.cloud and also SiriusStory.com, that this is a helter-skelter sort of energy. You're going to be tested. The devil is going to tempt you back all month long. They don't like losing customers, the dark. Okay. They fight for their customers really hard. So anything that was siphoning off of your energy is going to come begging and pleading to please, can I feed off of your energy and just divert you from your heart's plans, and so you're going to have to really be strong. And 29 means you just respond to your feelings. You just nurture yourself through all of those tests. Okay. And they'll be rolling out all month long. And I talk about in the Mega Monthlies where exactly for each sign that you're being tested. And I give you some karate clues on how to make sure that doesn't bring you down. At the same time, 29 also opens up new doorways to heaven as well. So I do expect a lot of doorways to open up this month that we never thought was possible. Then the big news, Pluto, probably the most craziest energy shift this week, I think, was yesterday when Pluto went retrograde. Pluto's been holding together basically the electricity of Aquarius, keeping it all contained. All right. So Pluto awakened Aquarius when it went through an Aquarius. Pluto is an awakener. It separates the density and brings space and consciousness and awareness to consciousness. Consciousness is really dense, and Pluto comes and consciousness starts to thaw out and expand. So Pluto has come into these early Aquarius vibrations and thawed it all out. But Pluto has been the container. It has held it all together. Now that Pluto withdraws from the situation, you are left to manage that energetic frequency inside of you. It might feel like something is a little off. It might feel like there's a buzz happening. There might be butterflies in your stomach. All would be indicators of Pluto retrograde. This is the beginning of the new era, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius now at 2 degrees, where you're starting to feel through space-time. The best way to describe it is, you remember that scene in The Matrix when Neo finally gets that he is the Matrix and he goes like this and the whole walls go like, wow, and they kind of fold behind him. That's sort of where we're at right now. We're realizing I am the Matrix. I am the video game. I am the flesh suit. Basically is what's going to happen. Okay. Those are the planets. Let's take a quick look at the aspects. Fortunately, there are not a lot of aspects this week, so we can get into this. Okay. So I'm so excited to see my buddy Josh Seagal, my favorite numerologist, honestly, I've ever met. Brilliant. Got to tell you, I'll be talking to Josh here after we do our horoscopes coming up here. We had a great time last time, and this time we're going to do something new. We're going to take questions from the audience for Josh. He and I are going to tag team and do some mini readings for people in the audience. Basically, Noel will be plucking them out. So everyone form torches and forks and what is it called? Pitchforks and torches outside of Noelle's house right now. Just kidding, Noelle. She's like, what the? She's got a son in the 8th house. She didn't like that joke. But basically, she's going to help find these people, and we're going to do some tag team readings tonight. So it's going to be kind of fun, laid back, astrology, numerology coming together. All right. The first astrology that I have for this week is this right here. Mercury conjoining Chiron on Monday, May 6th at 10:26 p.m. So it's literally at night. Notice they conjoin at step 21 when it starts to get fun. 21:02. I love this because then the moon is at 2 at 21:02. I love the clockwork of the universe. At this moment, we're saying, I don't want history to repeat itself. Very important sort of signal we give to the universe, a mindset that we don't want history to repeat itself. So please do not, Mr. Mind, is what we're going to say. I'm actually moving some stuff around so I can see my comments coming up. So also notice Mars is at 4. At this moment, you're stepping into a new dimension with yourself energetically. You're stepping into a new way of operating with yourself at that moment. Pluto's at retrograde at 2 degrees. We talked about that. Venus is at 9, so we're opening up to accept our worth, kind of a magical moment. So this happens Monday night. So if you're feeling reluctant, probably when you go to bed on Monday night, you're going to feel much better. Here's the new moon in Taurus, apexing on Tuesday, East Coast time, 11:21. You guys want to know something really crazy? I'm just going to share this because you guys would appreciate it. Do you know what time I was born? I was born at 11:21 a.m. And this new moon, 18 years into my career, has an apex at 11:21 p.m. Sensei comes out at night. I wanted to sing "The Freaks Come Out at Night." I don't know why I was thinking that. The freaks come out. The freaks come out. I don't know why I was thinking that song came in my head. I've got some angel that's making jokes here. I don't know if it's Sandalful or I don't know. All right, this is the stellium of the noon. Check this out. Holy shift. Okay. First of all, Venus is at Grandmaster step 10 at the time of the new moon. That's at Grandmaster step 10. So we are owning our self-worth. We are owning it. The moon, the sun and the moon come together. That says, God, this is my wish. And by the way, God is listening. Jupiter is tuned into step 25. 25 is the God channel. So Jupiter is tied into the God channel. That means we are writing basically our legacy. Uranus has got the door open between Earth 1, 2, and 3, holding the door open for the new story on the new Earth. Because I own my shift and I know what I am and I ain't repeating history ever again. Okay. And Mars at 5 is like, let's do this. All right. Saturn at Grandmaster 17, which means I'm committed to the spiritual way, making my destiny real. Neptune at 29, keeping it surreal. Shout out to Kristen Ryder. It's a powerful, powerful new moon in Taurus, extremely fertile. Okay. This is basically your first decan mastered, your second decan of Taurus mastered, your third decan mastered. It's a full house, so to speak, in astrological energy, all betting on your wishes coming true. I've never had astrology this valuable. And of course, not on my birthday. I feel like this must be my own timeline. There must be an Earth 5, a Sensei Earth, where it's just me. Okay, moving in later on Tuesday. Is this later or earlier? Actually, I might get these mixed up. 11:21 p.m. No, this is earlier. So let's go back in time. The sun did sextile Saturn prior to that new moon. So I did this a little bit backwards. So prior to the moon, we check in. That sextile is pretty interesting. It's like, okay, I'm about to manifest a miracle. Psh, okay, you're on the right bus. We're making sure you're on the right bus. Okay, okay. So there's like a commitment that you're on the right bus right before the new moon. That's crazy. An alignment. Just making sure you're on the right bus here, right? And then I just want to point out what's going to happen coming up on May 13th. This is actually the energy of Mother's Day, but 1 week from now, a sneak preview, the sun conjuncts Uranus at step 23. That's when the vision takes flight, okay? And so basically from this new moon to next Monday, right, we are going to be taking flight. It's really powerful. Super good stuff. Amazing. Can't write this shit. Yada, yada, yada. All right, friends. I think it's time to talk about you. Go steep yourself some tea. Got my Bernadette King mug here. And let's have our weekly tea time. Yay. So I decided to have my birthday out in the wilderness today. Hope you all like that. And I've got a new mic stand. If you have a dose, you can now see that I have a chest. Isn't that amazing? What a cool feature. I'm finally from behind the microphone. I'll tell you that microphone, I think I was just a little hiding behind the microphone before when I came back from my fall, interestingly enough. And now I'm not. Isn't that interesting? All right, let's take a look. We got a lot to talk about tonight, folks. So much numerology and astrology. If we are sick, do we miss out if we are stuck in bed? No, you might have to use this manifestation energy to heal. So you might have to use it to heal. Some people do need to use it to heal, and they can, and they will. So it'll grow back and heal very much during this time. And that just means you haven't been healing up until now, and it's time to. Just happen to catch that. So we're giving that to people. All righty. So this week I'm going to talk about four things, as I always do. Four is the door. Mercury conjoins Chiron. We'll talk about what Mercury conjoining Chiron means, where you are saying to the universe, do not repeat history. I do not want history to repeat. Okay. So we make that sort of mental commandment at step 21 when it starts getting fun. On this Monday, you do this. And so on this Monday, you will say, I do not want history to repeat in this area. Okay. Then we have the new moon in Taurus birthday, sponsored by Sensei Christopher. This is where you are manifesting your heart. So I'll talk about where you are manifesting your heart and to hold space. Then we also talk about that Sun sextile Saturn, remember? And so where are you also checking in and coordinating? So the sextile is a coordination between the heaven to-do list. So basically your fate, your destiny. So coordinating fate and destiny with the new moon. But this means that you're going to be coordinating two parts of your life together. So we'll talk about the two parts of your life that you are coordinating together on this new moon. And you are committing in Saturn and Pisces, and you are manifesting with Sun, Moon, Venus, Uranus, Jupiter in Taurus. So we'll talk about where those are being connected. And then I'll talk about Neptune at step 29, the Grand Master step. Can you believe that we're doing Unite the Light, where we come together with Neptune at 29 degrees Pisces, the highest spiritual degree, the highest planet at the highest degree? I can't believe it, but it's happening. So sometimes you just can't right this ship. It's amazing. I'm just blown away. It's like, as I reach this age, I realize the planets are just precise. They're not even slightly accurate. They are precise, at least in me. All right. And as always, I'll talk about what sign right here. Sarah will put that graphic up for you to know or zip through the line. All right. Starting with the Aries. Aries, you are going to not repeat history when it comes to your behavior. When it comes to your behavior, you may not repeat history. You have to make sure you're not going to go down the same path you have. What does this mean in practicalities? If an old job calls you and offers you twice the salary, you turn it down. That's what it means. You don't go back. You're going to be maybe tempted to go back to an old version of yourself, and you got to shake that shift off on Monday. Okay. So don't let yourself fall into an old behavior pattern. It could ruin a relationship forever if they see you slipping back right now also. But also you could find the way to heal from a time that you were a jackass as well. So it's sort of a magical moment. But you don't want to repeat certain character or behavior mistakes you have made in the past. The new moon in Taurus, you are manifesting productivity, money, cash flow. I think Aries are very fertile. You are going to make money at anything you do. You're going to be able to multiply stuff like rabbits. It is time to get that second revenue stream in, that second home in, whatever the case is. The slow roll, money that comes in while you're sleeping. It is time to invest. Don't overinvest though. Be careful. Remember what I told you. It's like you want to be only the stuff your heart wants. That's the key. But if your heart really wants not the money, but the way, not the money, but the way you're getting the money your heart loves, that's what God pays, is the way you love getting money. God doesn't give you the money for money's sake. God gives you the way of making money that you love. Okay. Or the matrix is wired with that programming, however you want to look at it. Because I don't think God set it up and stepped back. I don't think God's actually running any controls anymore. I think it's all it's all AI. All right. So when the sun sextiles Saturn, it has to be, this money making has also got to be in line with your spiritual purpose and your spiritual values. Now you may go, that's a no-brainer. Nope. This is one of those times where Aries says will be held back if it's not a spiritual value. Now, spiritual value is not Christianity or any other organized religion. Spiritual value is simply, is it loving or not? If it's not loving, it's not going to do very well. Loving for you, loving to the customers, loving to the people carrying the product on the trucks. It's got to be loving. That really is spiritual morality. If you are acting in love, you're a high spiritual roller. If you're not acting in love, you're mediocre. Okay. And if you're acting in hate, obviously you're not on our team, right? Team light, that is. Shout out to Rion for that one. Now, Neptune at step 29 is actually saying that your relationship to God is about to go through the roof. Okay. You are totally set up. I would not be surprised if you sat down to eat your breakfast and you saw a vision of Christ in your toast and Christ started talking to you. That's what Neptune 29, the 12th house, is actually going to do. You actually may have an apparition somewhere, a crying Mary. I don't know. It depends on your belief structure and however you want to be contacted. But basically, Aries are in a place now where they could be contacted by higher beings right now for this portal being open at Neptune at 29. All right. Also, don't repeat any karma. Don't go back and do something you know better that you shouldn't do. Just saying. Taurus. Tauruses are going to not repeat their spiritual history. Okay. And this is very interesting because for a long time, I've wondered if I would end up with certain past life wives. And no offense, honeys, I'm not. This tells me that we're not supposed to repeat our history at the time of the Grand I Manifest. It solves a riddle for me. So Tauruses, no past life wives, no past life anythings is what this is saying to Tauruses. You're not supposed to repeat something you've done in a past life. It's supposed to be original. This tells us that this life is an original work, at least from this point forward. Okay. So it's time to not repeat something you've known and done in past lives. And you may or may not be aware of your past lives. That's a whole nother topic. Okay. Now, that said, the new moon in your sign is really you going through a wardrobe change. You are going to put on a whole new behavior, a whole new personality. This is basically a new personality, a new person in motion. This is behavior, response, how you do things, how you are seen, what you look like when you streak by, all that sort of thing. So Tauruses are going through, Uranus has gone all the way to step 22. And once Uranus goes to step 22, Tauruses are going to just completely change really quickly. Okay. We're just going to be there. It's going to blow your minds. It's about to happen in the next 3 weeks. You know, Tauruses never move until they charge. So we're about to charge. Okay. So y'all get out of the way. Okay. Let this bull have a little room. Now, this energy sextiles Saturn. So this means that as you create this new version of yourself, this new personality, this new image of yourself, you also have to make sure it's in alignment with your social intentions, what you intend to do in the world, who you intend to be in the world. It has to be aligned with that character of who you are and who you are in the world. So Tauruses are showing up for a spiritual mission in the world. They are the master builders of the new era. And Neptune at 29 means you're about to push the envelope with your social ambition. I know, unite the light. I'm on it. But you all have your own social ambition that you're pushing somewhere too. So Tauruses, expect minor miracles to happen in your social reputation. I need a sip. Geminis. Tugging the bull's tail. You could say that. Geminis are, first of all, cannot repeat history in their social connections. So do not go back with the ex. Do not move back to home. Do not pass go without collecting $200. You have to do something original in society now, something you haven't done before. And it could mean past life too, but yes, my guides are saying it is. This is new. So Gemini seem to be moving into a new place in the world. I'm curious to see what it is because usually you're a talker, a communicator, an author. So, you know, now you're influencers in this lifetime a lot of times. I'm curious to see what it is. But do not repeat something you've been in the world in the past. Do not repeat history in society. If someone asks you back, don't do it. Now, the new moon actually for you is with spirituality and faith. And this is huge. I talk about this in the Mega Monthlies on Serious Joy, excuse me, that the new moon for you is faith. You're actually going to create faith. Okay. And see, what does a Gemini do? Go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know what would stop that back and forth? Faith. Faith would stop you thinking back and forth because your soul will tell you it's this answer. And you stop thinking about it, you can go on to something else. Okay. So the mental gems are really going to have faith, which means a third voice. They're getting a third voice to the twins. It's now triplets. They're no longer the twin signs. They're the triplets because they now have the third eye to the two eyes. They now are adding that third eye. That's I'm downloading this right now. I'm streaming this from my higher self and it's like really fascinating. Now that said, you got to make sure that this faith is in alignment with your career and your legacy, that you are having faith about your career, that you have faith where your career is going, that you have understanding of what's going to happen. Okay, like in faith and have a feel for what's happening. If you're completely blind and don't have the faith, you're on the wrong career path, by the way. Okay, so if you don't have faith in it, that is God telling you no. What other kind of sign do you need? How many signs do I have to drop on you, Gemini, for you to finally get that this is going to work? Now, that said, Neptune at 29 is going to open up some miracle possibilities when it comes to career and legacy. Geminis might be at the right place at the right time. Don't turn down an offer you can't refuse right now. Let me tell you right now, do not turn down. You can always give it back later. Okay. Don't turn down an offer you can't refuse right now. I think it's one of those times you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Seriously. Mm. All right. Cancers. I have my blue water here too somewhere. Cancers, do not repeat history with career and leadership stuff. Do not do a repeat career leadership thing. Do a different career leadership thing. You're meant to be in a different career than you have been in the past. Do not repeat history in your career or leadership. And do not marry the same man you've married before, because that is the house of fatherhood, and cancers are naturally that way. So this is official sign from the universe. Do not get back in with the ex, especially when Pluto goes back into Capricorn in September. Just saying. You heard it here, folks. Now, the new moon for you is actually with social connections. Cancers are blooming now in their relationship to the world. And I joke about this, and I mean it with my full heart, but cancers are in a lot of unhealthy relationships, and you could have been doing so much more in the world instead of taking care of that baby that wouldn't want to grow up. So now the universe is saying, great, cancers are available. They're suddenly on the market, and you've got a place in the world that the world needs right now. It's a total hot mess. It could use a clean cancer. Right? So cancers are manifesting a social connection in the world. Cancers are making their place in the world. And this is the place in the world. You're making your home in the world setting, if you will. Let's put it that way. Now, with the sextile to Saturn, you've got to make sure that that place in the world is tied to your life's purpose. It has to be meaningful. It has to be a learning path. It has to bring better knowledge to you. Because right now you're looking for true purpose and meaning and doing things that have significance and have long lasting weight. So it is important to make sure that anything you do in the world is completely in line with your purpose. All right. And find your crowd, find your people. Now, Neptune at 29 does say that there are miracles that could open up when it comes to life purpose right now. You may end up finding yourself in a place you never thought you would be before. Okay. You may end up realizing that your purpose is something pretty interesting that you've hidden from yourself because you didn't have the courage to really look at it honestly. So I think some light bulbs are going off for cancers in what their purpose is. You had to get to this place first before you could actually see what it was, is what it looks like. Yeah, totally. We're going to get some blue water here. This drink, got to keep up the water. Halamia. All right. So yeah, check it out, Cancers. Leos. Leos, I have a Leo rising here. Leos, first of all, do not pursue a life purpose you've already done before. So repeating history cannot be an old life purpose. It can be the same purpose you've always been on at a higher level. That's a little different, but it can't be an old purpose or an old meaning. And it can't be that you go back to school. Definitely saying do not go back to school right now if you're a Leo. Back to school. You can go to school, but they're definitely saying don't go back to school. Okay. So you want to make sure that everything you're doing now is sort of fresh. This is a fresh lifetime for Leos, a lot of reincarnated royalty. This is a whole new reason why you're royal this lifetime. And so you want to make sure you're not repeating history with life purpose or knowledge. This eclipse for you, Leo and Leo risings, is in your career and leadership. You're going to manifest your heart's desires in career and leadership. And because Uranus is there, I just want to also say there's a lot of reorganizing. There's a lot of changing of space. There's a lot of things under construction, even though you are manifesting your career. So it's okay that you're under construction, but you are basically going to be growing phenomenally fast here going forward, as you are here to be the leaders of love in the new era. And so we need you to build that capital. We need you to build that castle. We need you to build that brand that's spreading the love. Basically, that's what Unite the Light's about too. Now, the sextile of Saturn says, all of your career stuff has to keep in mind your boundaries. You've got to be very careful about your boundaries, very specific. Each boundary has to show that you have learned from your karma. Do not repeat the boundary mistakes in the past. That's also sex, intimacy, trust issues, secrets, all that stuff. You're completely forgiven for any trespasses in the past. There's no weight of trespasses in the past on you, but you better not ever trespass there again, is what Saturn is saying. It is literally tied to career. So most of this for Leos is that where they inside themselves went a little too far because they have Pisces in the 8th house. So they tend to let things go a little too far. They let things get out of hand. They don't enforce the boundary. And so they can, sometimes an emperor with no clothes at sometimes, but you've learned all that. It's fine. Saturn says you've learned all that. Just got to make sure you're keeping your career in mind when you move forward. Now, those boundaries actually, when you do that, Neptune at 29 says you are going to be surprised at how you transform. I'm sure you have a vision for where you are going and what's happening. And I'm sure you have a vision for what you might look like when that happens. But you are going to find that you end up in a place that you had not imagined. So there's a surprise in store for the Leos as far as the outcome. Virgos, my virtuosos, my Virgo virtuosos. Okay, Virgo, first of all, universe is saying do not repeat history when it comes to trying to change yourself a certain way. I think this has to do with how Virgos used to they're always like a project in the making. Like Virgos are never done because you rule becoming. You're always becoming something. But a lot of times you were trying to become things that were not in your heart's best interest. So what the universe is saying is don't try to become something you're not. That's what it's basically saying. Don't try to become something you're not. Okay. Make sure you don't repeat that history because that really burned a lot of calories and wasted a lot of time. Now, the sun, new moon for you, this new manifestation of the new moon is around knowledge, learning, and purpose. You are being born now with this new purpose, a new meaning, a refreshed understanding, something to get excited about, something to get very detailed about. So the Virgos are ready to sink their teeth into a rich life experience, basically. And this new moon is the opening of that rich life experience. Now, this has to be working in concert with all your relationships. So relationships and purpose have to go side by side. And everything you've learned about relationship must be honored and protected when it comes to, what you're doing in your purpose. So, you cannot, the devil might try to tempt you back in a relationship. Don't let relationship take you off your purpose. Don't let your purpose take you away from your relationships. It's another way to look at it. But you have a surprise coming or a miracle when it comes to your partnerships. Neptune at 29 does mean that you might be introduced to someone very important for you in your life story. Could be someone important for your career or your purpose, but, and also miracles. Don't give up on a person just yet with Neptune at 29 Pisces. If your heart feels like you're supposed to be with someone and they're not really pulling it off, you do have the miracle card going on in relationships right now. They might have a light bulb go off in the very final hour. It's possible. I'm not trying to give you false hope, but I am telling you what the signs are. The planets say it's possible. It is possible. So we'll see what happens there. All right. Libras. Libras are, first of all, being warned, do not go back for seconds on a relationship. No double dipping on relationships. Do not repeat a relationship you've had in the past. Josh, are you watching, buddy? Don't repeat a relationship you've had in the past. We'll talk about that. I'll see if you got that memo later on. But basically, you don't want to go there again. It doesn't matter. It's time's up. The bar's closed. Everyone's got to, you don't have to go home, but you're not staying here. Like it's last call for the Libras. They're doing a major pullout of a lot of relationships and moving into a whole new realm of relationships. Do not repeat some relationship that's happened in the past. Okay. Now, the new manifestation is not so sexy, but it will be. Your manifestation is around boundaries and intimacy. So the new moon is calling for Libras to become very intimate now, very, very close, closer than you've ever been. Truth is, you actually aren't quite, even though you're like super like on a person mentally and always with them mentally, you actually are a little withdrawn and actually have a little distance between your partners. And the universe is saying, we want Libras to be closer. Okay. So you are basically manifesting the boundaries necessary for intimacy. This is why many Libras will be doing upgrades in their relationships right now, because their current relationship intimacy rating is a certain level and they're going to a higher intimacy rating. I'm just making up these terms right now, but it makes total sense. All right. So intimacy is what you're manifesting. Now, you have to make sure that all of your boundaries and your intimacy are in alignment with daily life. So you have to make sure that it makes daily life works really well, that you're living the life you want to live, that you're not giving up stuff for the intimacy, that you're not hiding from life. So balancing daily life with personal boundaries and where things draw the line. And Neptune at 29 says you might have a miracle unfold in your lifestyle. That could be an opportunity for your job. It could be a big sales spike. It could be, that you get recommended to someone. It could be that you're the only one to get a permit to build a pool on your block. Like something's going to happen in your lifestyle. It's going to open up. If you're looking to change your life, you've got God on your side, Libra. Scorpios. Scorpios are telling, do not repeat the old job. So Scorpios are being warned, do not go back to the old job. Do not pick up an old project. Do not go backwards in lifestyle right now. Do not go backwards to a lifestyle you've already had. Move forward with a fresh lifestyle, okay? And make sure it's a new story as far as the way you're living. You should be living in a way you've never lived before, is what this is saying. The new manifestation for you is in relationships and partnerships. Scorpios and Scorpio risings are getting into bed, literally probably for some Scorpios, but getting into bed with people that are going to be co-producing with them and helping them to carry out their personal dreams. So Scorpios are basically partnering mostly for, I think, personal dreams and creative projects with Saturn and Pisces, which I'm going to talk about here in just a moment. But they also might be partnering if you're a single Scorpio or Scorpio rising. Yes, this energy might be drawing in the one, okay, or the next one anyways. So yes, this is a time to wish for that. Existing relationships will grow closer and deeper, Scorpio, as well. Intimacy for you is right around the corner as well. So that new moon is sextiling Saturn in love and creativity. So it's very likely that relationships have to be in concert with your children, with your creativity. They have to be in concert with everything your heart wants. The universe is saying Scorpios cannot compromise their heart for any relationship at this point. That is a no-no. Do not compromise your heart, okay? And the Neptune at 29 degrees means that personal wishes and dreams are coming true for Scorpios now that you have Neptune at 29, the miracle degree. So in this miracle degree, you are now having dreams and wishes coming true. Yay for Scorpios. I'm excited for you. And this microphone here is a little weird though at the same time. Sagittarius, my Sag is the unicorns. Do not go back in an old love relationship. Do not repeat an old love relationship. Kind of similar to the Tauruses, actually, if you think about it. Do not go back to a past life anything right now for Sagittariuses. You were meant to have fresh love, right off the shelf, fresh love. So fresh personal dreams too. Personal. You like that word, personal? Fresh personal dreams too. So you may be engaging in something your heart's always wanted to do, a dream you've always had. It is time, doesn't matter what your age is, it is time to go ahead and pursue that dream that your heart wants to have. Okay. So it is time to pursue personal dreams right now, but not something you've done before. The manifestation is with daily routines and lifestyle. So you're manifesting a life that you want, a work life that you want, a lifestyle that you want. That lifestyle can involve work, can involve marriage, can involve routines. It can involve summer camp. It can involve anything that you call life, but you are manifesting a magical life, basically. This magical life must be in concert with how you feel about things. Your life cannot be out of sorts with how you feel. That's a big no-no. If you don't feel good in it, you're not meant to do it, period. That's what the universe is saying. So it must be in concert with your feelings and making you feel much better. But when it comes to feelings, there might be a magical miracle happening in your home. That might be that you find the world's perfect home to buy. That might mean you find out you're pregnant and having another child. That might be that that something wonderful happens to your family or inheritance happens, not for a good reason, but maybe it's been locked up in escrow or it's been locked up, this whole time. But something magical is going to happen in home, family, and foundation, or miracles can happen in home, family, and foundation. Capricorns. Capricorns are, first of all, being warned, do not repeat a family situation you've had before. So do not repeat a a roommate situation, a family situation. Do not, do not move back in with your family. This would be the worst time to move back in with your family right now. I'm just saying, unless it's a divorce that's healing, and that would be different. But even then, I would say the planets are warning you, don't go back to anything that's called X. Don't go back to anything that you would use the word X on. Okay. That's basically what it's saying. And especially around the home and family. Also, old feelings. Don't let old feelings come back either. Now, the new moon is amazing for Capricorns. This is your personal dreams coming true. Literally, love, creativity, wishes, art, music, adventure, expression, children. Basically, this is a very fertile, gooey, awesome energy in your heart. Your heart is literally lighting up with this new moon. It is time to pursue your heart and go after whatever your heart wants. This has to be in alignment, though, with your plans and your thinking. So your thinking, your communication, your logic, all that has to be completely in alignment with your personal dreams. So in other words, if your mind is arguing with what your heart wants, either your mind is in the wrong by doing that and shouldn't, shame on the mind, or the mind is calling out that you're not really pursuing your heart. But the mind and heart have got to be on the same team, says the astrology. Now, this said, you probably will have a zinger of a brilliant idea, strategy, business plan. You have miracles right now in the house of contracts. So you may have that contract come in that you've been looking for, that deal come in that you've been looking for. Neptune is opening up to literally miracles in intellect, business, negotiation strategies. Okay. Should be good. I'm excited for you. Aquarius, the Aquariuses. Aquariuses, you are being warned not to go down an old mental path. Do not play old scripts in your head. Do not talk to people you know you shouldn't talk to. Don't let your mind go there, okay? And you know where there is. There's a there, and don't go there, okay? I don't know what the there is. I know it's probably freaky, I'll tell you that, but don't go there. That's what it's saying. Now, that said, I think you get that. The new moon in Taurus is that your feelings in daily life, you are going to become very... Basically, what this is doing is this is turning up the emotional amperage of Aquariuses. So they're becoming more emotionally charged and coming from a richer emotional tank. And the thing is that emotion is the energy used to do magic and to transform reality. So basically, Aquariuses are cosmically juicing up right now. You are cosmically juicing up for lightning to strike. So it's pretty powerful. What it comes down to in a practical sense is that you are getting emotionally fulfilled. You are finding yourself an emotional ground. I know Aquariuses who have just moved. You know who you are, buddy. Shout out to my brother. I'm not going to put him out, but yeah, he's well known. But that said, it's time to build that new home and family foundation. Now, you must make sure that the home family foundation, the new feelings about life that you are birthing are completely in alignment with what you're doing for work and making money. At this point, your financials are directly tied to your capacity to feel good. You will watch as your emotional stock market goes up and down, your finances will go up and down. They're now synced. They always were. You're just now realizing it is what it is, because you used to push your feelings aside and then not understand why no one was hiring you. Okay. Is because you were suppressing the ingredients that go into manifestation and attraction. So you are becoming emotionally richer, and it's going to be tied to money. Now, here's the good news. You've got $1 million idea coming in, or $1 million opportunity. I would not pass up a once in a lifetime opportunity to make money, even though how much it will be uncomfortable, or like, oh, you have to be there at 6 a.m. or whatever. Aquas can be a little bit like Leo sometimes when it comes to whether or not they will show up or do the job. But you will regret it for the rest of your life if you do not actually take that offer, as long as it feels right. Remember, it has to feel right, but that would be a big mistake. Take the business offer that comes in. Okay. All right. And then we're going to do drum roll. We should do a drum roll for Pisces. We're going to move into the studio next week and have some new special effects, and sound effects might be part of it. The Pisces. First of all, Pisces, the planets are warning you, do not repeat a financial investment that you have done before. So do not go down the same financial investments that you've gone down before. Don't go back into an old business. Don't go back in an old revenue stream. Pisces are meant to have new revenue streams right now, and they're being told do not go back in the old. So don't repeat history when it comes to money or business. The new moon is actually in the house of ideas and communication. So you are going to be very fertile and manifest some brilliant ideas. Right now, Pisces ideas are going to come to life. Pisces are re-architecting what they want to see, and what you believe and what you think about starts to form. Okay. So Pisces are very visionary in the sense that their mind and their thoughts create reality faster than anyone else's thoughts create reality. So it's time to create reality that you want with the power of your mind. Just make sure what you're creating in your mind is 100% connected to your behavior. So you must practice what you preach, says the astrology. If you do not practice what you preach, it will not manifest, says the astrology. You must also be in line with your thoughts. If your thoughts are contradictory to your behavior, it won't manifest. Okay. So God is basically holding you to the line, Pisces. You can't say one thing and, do as I say, but not as I do. That won't work anymore. God's put a little safety device on the Pisces to make sure that don't happen right now. So make sure it's in alignment. Now, you may have some sort of miracle happen with your character or personality. You have like a little bit of a glow with Neptune at 29. Pisces are starting to become a little transparent. Okay. We're starting to see through. You're starting to 5D on us and become a little, starting to ghost out. And this is only like kind of ghost out like in the Jedis I'm thinking about with Obi-Wan. So you're kind of going to Obi-Wan mode right now. And in that mode, I don't know. You tell me what happens. I don't know. I don't know. I've never been alive with Neptune and Pisces at this degree and practicing astrology. The last time I had Neptune and Pisces at this degree, I was actually an astronomer in Austria, but that's a whole nother story. It was a past life. So last time Neptune was in this place, I was actually looking at Neptune in this place, which is kind of funny. But anyways, you tell me what's going to happen, but I do think miracles will happen. If anything, I would say you have a special force field of protection around you right now, and that you might be law of attracting really interesting things. So if someone just random comes up to you and says they have an offer, hear them out. Hear them out. You might have some sort of an interesting encounter, if you will. We'll have to see, but that's the Pisces. Okay. All right, friends, I am super excited. I'm going to take a little break. We're going to stream our commercials again. Unite the Light. Go purchase your streaming ticket right now on this break. It'd be a great time to go to unitethelight.love. For Serious Story subscribers, we will post that passcode on the pep talk of tomorrow's pep talk and Sunday's pep talk, but check that out. But when I come back from this little intermission and commercials, I'll be back with my buddy, Josh Seagal, numerologist. Keep streaming. We'll be right back. Weathers from Saturday, May 4th to Friday, May 10th, 2024. Looking ahead at your weekend forecast, it's going to be an easy breezy weekend where you come to realize what you deserve and your heart agrees. Let's drill down. On Saturday, it's partly cloudy and tender. Step 14 means that Mercury actually rules the day. It's a little tender because Moon is in Pisces and then moving into Aries, so you're starting to come into your strength in this day. But overall, what you're manifesting is a new perspective. You're responding to your feelings. And Mercury trining Juno, you're also trying to build sort of a symbiotic relationship just to reality. Overall, though, what you are doing is finding a new way of seeing what you deserve. On Sunday, it's partly sunny and charged. Step 15 means Venus rules the day, so you can open up, accept, relax. It's a creative resting and receiving day. You're manifesting negotiation. If you have a relationship that's important to you right now, you might find that the two of you come together and really understand some things. Things may feel like they are frozen in time, though. There's a 15-hour void of course, and you're being called to raise the inner bar and be more responsible for yourself. With the Moon in Aries, you're feeling strong, but also feeling relaxed. Looking at the week ahead, the 5-day forecast, we're going to now take this new acceptance of what we're worth and catapult it and invest it into a more abundant future. On Monday, it's partly cloudy and expectant. Step 16 means that Neptune rules the day. It's somewhat spiritual and cloudy. What you're manifesting is your new manifest mission and opening up to a new adventure. What can happen next? Mercury conjoins Chiron, so your mind is more at ease with your prospects for the future. And with the Moon moving in from Aries to Taurus, you're starting to now feel the countdown to the new moon. On Tuesday, it's sunny and delicious. Step 17 means that Saturn now rules the day. You are officially manifesting progress. You're going to commit now to where you want to go and what you want to produce. With the moon in Taurus, you are feeling valuable, and the moon will apex into a new moon at 18 degrees Taurus at 9:21 Eastern Time. So the new moon will be that evening at step 18 at 9. So the new moon means that as you go to sleep or head for bed, you are now committed with your heart to make your heart's wishes come true. On Wednesday, it's sunny and fertile. In the aftermath of the new moon, you're still feeling that step 18 net 9 energy. Mars is now ruling the day. It's time to go for what your heart wants. The moon will shift from Taurus to Gemini, so you're going to find yourself kind of expedient in your thinking, but what you're manifesting is change on this day and planting the magic bean to make your fortune come true. On Thursday, it's sunny and dreamy. Step 19 means it's a Grandmaster day. Earth rules the day, and what you're manifesting today is abundance. You're also feeling excited with lots of ideas and communication, the moon in Gemini. And overall, what you're doing here is you're raising the stakes and taking your intentions to the next level. And then on Friday, it's sunny and chatty. Step 20 means you're now holding emotional space for the future. The moon is ruling the day. Only the moon is in Gemini. So your feelings are very tied to your thoughts. What you're manifesting is potential for the future, but you're slipping into a vortex. Things may start to feel a little dreamy and cloudy as the day progresses.
It's serious joy, joy, joy.
Light.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to Astro Mingle, the spiritual podcast that mingles with the talented light workers and the innovative influencers of our time. As you know, I love numbers. They play a huge part of interpretation for us as astrologers, and for numerologers, they are the Bible of truth. Tonight's guest is a Superman of numerological mastery. Say that 5 times, Josh. Josh Seagal is recognized as one of the foremost authorities on numerology in the United States. He's brought a fresh and compelling new face to this ancient science by translating the mystical system of numbers into the modern mindset of today. By employing his highly advanced system of calculations, Josh is able to quickly identify core issues. He gives instant clarity to questions. He interprets the meaning of seemingly random events, and he empowers you to change their counterproductive patterns in your life in order to welcome into your life happiness and prosperity. I love it. Please join me in sending some waves of love and gratitude to welcome back one of our favorite guests, Step 19, Libra, Josh Seagal. Hello, sir.
Hey.
I need applause.
Yay. Great to be back. Great to be back.
Thanks for coming. I just want to say too, by the way, I got a bunch of birds talking in my ear who got readings with you after our first, and they all said, change their life. Incredibly powerful, incredibly accurate, reframe them in a way. And mind you, these are people who are light workers who get readings other places. And they said your technique, whatever you do, reframe their consciousness in a certain way that it freed them, allowed them to go forward. I heard only good things from you. So y'all, we're going to talk about this website today. Be sure to go and get a reading.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I paid them a lot of money to say that. That's all I can say.
That's what they mentioned. Yeah. How have you been? I mean, I guess let's start off. I mean, I think it's been maybe, I don't know how long it's been, how many months has it been? 6 months since we saw each other? I can't remember. It's flown by.
Yeah.
How's the energy been on Earth? You've been looking at clients and giving readings. Are you noticing like a theme going on right now in this last 6 months?
I'm a very positive person, particularly when I work with clients, but I do believe it's been a little bit more difficult recently. I think it's a little bit more challenging energies than usual. Even in my personal life and people that I know around me, it seems like there's some sort of transformational thing going on right now. And I normally don't get too far into things like that, but I have seen a little bit more of that. Now, the work I do is still the same, and that is finding solutions to, work with the numbers that you were born with in a transformational process to awaken out of old patterns and embrace, what can be. And so I still do that. I just think that, particularly with my clients, a little bit more challenging time. And I think it's maybe also just in the world in general, there's a lot of unrest, instability. Maybe that's, a part of it as well.
Mm-hmm. And are you seeing, it seems to me when you say learning to work with their own energies,
Yeah.
it seems to me that people are finally getting to learn. I mean, they're just now finally getting on the bike and not falling off. I've seen that in my clients that they're finally getting it. And maybe your reading is when they did finally get it.
Well,
Yeah.
I do find it interesting the time frame when someone consults me,
Mm,
where they are in their process. And I do believe, just from experience, and again, I've been doing this for 25 years, maybe longer now. I don't want to admit it, but a long ass. And I do think the timing of when people come to consult with me, usually they're ready. They're ready for the next phase. And it's remarkable how that happens. And I do go back in time for the people that have gotten sessions with me, that you've talked to. They know that I go back in time and I look at cycles in their past. And what I attempt to do is determine where they were at that time, with respect to integrating, what they're here to learn and move into higher purpose, and how they've grown and evolved since that time frame. And I work with the client to kind of see that arc of development, right, as to where they were then and where they are now, and what we're still maybe needing to work on a little bit, but also congratulate ourselves as far as how far we've gone. And so it's really this growth process that I work with my clients with. And I think it's just so rewarding. And I know you feel the same. I've talked to you about this, the work that we do, really making a difference in people's lives. It's very, very rewarding work. And I love it. And that's why I'm still doing it after all these years.
It's amazing. It doesn't get boring.
No.
I'm always amazed. There's still that spark. And even though I've had jobs where I repeat the same thing over and over again, keep your eyes, keep your hands and feet in at all times, that sort of thing. In my job, I repeat all the time, but I don't get tired of the repeating even.
Yeah.
Because you have some of these sayings and the jokes still hit.
Well, because I think there's nothing more powerful than the work that we do, because you're talking about the literal transformation of a person's life.
Yeah.
I mean, which is really what life is all about. What is more powerful than really taking a person who's, really struggling or maybe confused or at a crossroads in their life and helping them to move forward in a way that brings, happiness and growth and the things that they want in their life? What's more rewarding than that? I mean, that's what it's all about to me.
It is. And there's a weird satisfaction with getting the lawnmower running again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like there's
totally.
just something that tinkering with it. I can see, like, I used to be like my grandpa, why are you tinkering in the garage with all those things, fixing up all those old things? I'm like, oh shit, I'm doing the same thing actually with people. I'm tinkering in the garage with people's consciousness and helping them get it running again. It's super exciting. There's nothing like the spark when they get it either. Like, especially now on Zoom. Like I used to do, you're the old school. You probably used to do cassette tape recordings on the phone, right? In the old days.
I don't know about cassette, but yeah.
Oh, really? I did cassette. Okay. I made you myself then.
I think I didn't really do that one, but I got to say, what's different now is the widespread openness for this kind of work.
Yeah.
I talked about this before. And I really do believe that means a positive. That is what I think the most positive thing is. That, yeah, I think we're going through a little bit of a rough patch right now, just from what I'm sensing. But I think the positive thing is how many people are really open to and ready to take the action to better their lives and not bury themselves in the illusion of this and that we get caught up and say, no, I really want to change. I really want to, take my life to the next level. And so many people are so open to these alternative methods. And I think that's really been a fantastic thing. It wasn't as much of that back in the day when I first started. I think things have evolved in that respect. And I think that does mean to me that in the future, the more and more people in the consciousness of society will have an opportunity to evolve to the next level.
So true. I went to a cafe in Boulder recently, and the waitress was probably like 18. She was a teenager, which threw me back to those ages. And she goes, "What do you do for a living?" I'm like, "I'm a YouTuber." She's like, "What do you do on YouTube?" I'm like, "I'm an astrologer." She's like, "Oh my God, I'm a sun Taurus with a moon in Capricorn and this and a rising that." And I was like, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
that blew me away." Usually I
Oh,
have to
yeah.
tell the difference between astronomer and astrologer. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And she
Yeah.
knew her stats. And she's like, "Do you know human garage? I'm an emotional this." I'm just like, "Oh my God." It's like knowing their stats of, their measurements, basically. It's crazy. So the young generation is very aware, and they're gonna grow up wanting to get deep. I mean, imagine, were you this aware of numbers at a young age? When did it come into, how old were you when you found numbers? I forgot.
I think I was in my early mid 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was because I grew up in a Jewish family. I was adopted, and I started looking into Kabbalah, or Jewish
Mm,
mysticism.
yeah.
And there was so much mystical usage of numbers. And I thought that was so fascinating, you know? And I think it
Yeah.
kind of balanced out these two sides of my character, which is the analytical side and the sort of the unexplained spiritual side. So mathematics, numbers tied into sort of a higher philosophical, mystical aspect of things. And it was such a perfect balance of that world for me. And so
Mm,
it wasn't long until, I started looking into, was numbers used in a mystical way in other cultures, and how far widespread with this. And what I found in my research is just utterly shocking, the degree that the ancient world and all these advanced civilizations had very similar
mhm.
philosophical systems of using numbers to denote, sort of the workings of God. And it is
Yeah.
hidden with so many of the holy writings. And I said, how come that's not taught? How come we don't really know about that?
Right. Well, yeah.
And so,
When you're
yeah,
learning addition, I mean, like,
yeah.
we do a lot of number work in school, and it never comes up.
No, we learn, as I always talk. I always talk about this. We learn Pythagorean's theorem,
Yep.
Pythagoras' theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. But we don't learn that he taught that numbers were a manifestation of the divine.
Yeah.
And that the planets had their own vibrational frequencies and all these kinds of things, and how he studied with all the great teachers of his time in India. And well, we know for sure he went to Egypt, because I think some of the great writers of the time sort of have written that down. But I believe he also went to other parts of the world as well and learned from all the great masters, and then said, "Hey, I'm going to create this sort of cohesive system from all that." And that's why we call it Pythagorean numerology today.
Oh.
What
Ooh.
are we good?
Yeah, we had a little bit of a burp there. I think the power between us is too great, buddy. Sorry about that. I
Yeah,
don't
when
want
we
to.
get together, God
So
only knows what's happening.
that's right. Exactly. Lock your doors.
Yeah,
So when I last heard you, you were saying that Pythagoras had this mystical side and this numerological side,
right.
and you were leading somewhere at that point, and you faded out there for me.
Well, from what I understand, the great Pythagoras, as we know it today, there is evidence from historians at the time or thereafter who believe that he traveled the sort of around the world, at least maybe to Egypt
Yeah.
and possibly to Persia, and studied with the great teachers and mystics of the time, the high priests of the time, that were holding sort of the secret doctrine, the secret knowledge, and that he had been given those keys because he had proven himself worthy, even as a foreigner, to be handed that sort of really well guarded information. And it's so very Da Vinci Code. This stuff, it's so amazing and so dramatic.
Yeah.
And then how he, after sort of taking this knowledge, formed his own school at Crotona, and he then at that point started his own mystery school, in
Oh,
which
wow.
an adherent would have to, well, if you wanted to apply, you'd have to take a vow of silence for 5 years and not say a damn thing, and then you have to come back and prove yourself worthy, and then maybe he'd take you in, or maybe not still. And there were
Hmm.
all these sort of trials and tribulations you had to go for, and then there were sort of different levels of knowledge that you were given as you prove yourself, as you would have proved yourself to be worthy of that. And so it's a lot different today. You just download something on Google, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You
You
just
have to
go
take a
free.
it's
Yeah.
but
But
but that was the very guarded information, and it was sort of the keys to the divine. and how the universe works. And that to me was just so, just, I don't know, powerful, all this sacred knowledge, and how people don't even realize that, to what extent we're still being ruled by the ancient doctrine, even today.
Oh yeah. And don't, everyone is using it. I love how science just sort of excludes that whole part of it. But
Right.
like the Masons, the stone cutters, all these secret societies, they're still using numbers. In fact, what is the significance, since we're on this topic, of 33? I mean, what does it mean to you, 33? Like 33-degree Mason, of course, we see them worshiping that number. In your world, what is it?
So, although I have no affiliation to Freemasonry at all these days, back in the day, I was interested in Freemasonry, and I went through the steps to become a Mason in the early 2000s. And I became I guess you could say I'm a 32nd degree Mason, right? So I don't think that makes me particularly special, because I don't think that really means much anymore today in my personal feeling about the subject. But in case anyone thinks that the Masons are taking over the world, from my experience, there were a bunch of old guys who were fighting over who's going to bring sandwiches to the picnic, So, but it's like this
Took me
Rotary
a minute
Club.
for that to hit.
Yeah, it's like Rotary Club, So,
yeah,
it's like, these guys are going to take over the world. I don't think so, And they say, oh, but the guys at the top, like, I know some of the guys at the top, and I'm not
they're
impressed.
older.
Yeah, even older. And they even argue more about the sandwiches, right? So,
Yeah,
so,
that's funny.
but however, hidden within sort of their teachings is a mystical system that probably originated. They drew upon sort of these ancient rituals, probably from Egypt. There's some symbolism from Egypt, but also, a little mixed with the Kabbalah, a little bit mixed with some of these other mystical societies. It seems like they drew upon a lot of sort of ancient sources. So I will tell you what my belief is about the number 33. And so this is very esoteric, but I'm going to sort of divulge what I've learned about this. Many of these numbers have a symbolic meaning and how it relates to us as a human, right? And human consciousness. So as the ancients believed, particularly from the Far East, that there was a latent spiritual energy that existed at the base of the spine. They referred to it as Kundalini.
Mm-hmm.
And these great teachers, through their mystical systems of meditation and other forms of mystical disciplines, believe that that this Kundalini energy could be awakened and arisen through the 32 vertebrae. Okay. Okay. And there was these sort of intertwining electrical energies called the Ida and Pingala, right? And in the center shaft of the Sushumna. And they believe through this sort of mystical rising of this energy up to the 32, vertebrae as they counted it, it would then hit the 33rd point, which is what they called the pineal gland in the center of the head, which they believe was the seat of the soul, or commonly referred to as the third eye.
Mm-hmm. The eye of God.
So this is, or the eye of Horus, as they called it, or the awakened eye. They say that
all-seeing eye.
The all-seeing eye. And so the two eyes are sort of the eyes that deceiveth us, because we see things dualistically.
Mm-hmm.
Left, right, that's good, that's bad, this dualistic structure all the time, that when you achieve a heightened state of awareness, we reach the 33rd point where we become enlightened, where we're seeing things through the third eye, that everything is kind of one and interconnected, right? And become connected to the super consciousness, Now, just so you know, it's not like I'm not a master of, this kind of thing. I meditate a little bit, not as much as I should, but I'm a little bit sometimes too caught up in my interests, and blah blah blah. But I will say that I believe that the 33rd point esoterically has to do with this rising or awakened of this mystical energy in us to a heightened state of consciousness, the third eye, if you will. And I think that story is hidden within religion as well. I don't want to get too far into it, but let's just say that a lot of this ancient knowledge found its way in stories in the Bible, where allegorically they were speaking of these things. And, but I don't want to get too far on that right now,
That was that was the best answer I've ever gotten. You constructed it perfectly. And I had no idea. I've been a light worker, call myself one since I was a boy. So never heard it with the vertebrae before. It's amazing. So it sort of begs a question. And I won't do this all night with you because there's a lot of numbers out there. What about 13? What is the mysticism around 13?
Yeah. So, prior to a patriarchal religion, they were, people don't realize this, but I think some do, that they were matriarchal religions, and where the goddess was venerated and worshipped, and kind of think things probably might have been a little bit better back then than
yeah, I miss those days.
I think as soon as we took shit over, we just tanked the whole damn thing, like leave it to us.
I will bow to the goddess. No problem. Yeah.
Yeah. We came out like, no, it's the father's in control. And then after that, it was like downhill. Yeah. So prior to back then they used a lunar calendar, right? And so 13 relates to the lunar calendar. And, but it also, has some other significance as well. As you well know, that there's 12 signs in the zodiac. Although at one point in Babylonia, someone had found that there was this 13th sign as well. But
Ficus. Yeah,
right.
Ficus. Yeah, between Scorpio and Sag. And yeah, I think it's early. It's late Scorpio and early Sag, right?
Right.
So go ahead.
Right, and but they went back to there's reasons for that. That just how the balance and harmony of 12, right? And so you could say that there is a perfect sort of balance to the heavens and as divided in 12 sections, and 13th would be sort of the sun, and and right. And so therefore there's this deeper significance, because the sun, of course, goes to this revolution. It seems that, again, a lot of this goes back to ancient religion, worshiping the sun. And it's, for example, Hercules had 12 Herculean labors. And that was symbolic of the sun going through the 12, around the 12 signs of the zodiac. So, but because of that, 13 is associated. If you know anything about the tarot, they have the 13th tarot card is the death card. And so it represents sort of change and transformation. And so there's a lot of deep hidden esoteric aspects about this. But let's say if everything is perfected at 12 and then you go one more to 13, you're sort of breaking that perfection and creating something new. Right. And so there's I say the 13 to me signifies sort of a death and rebirth and the reincarnation of life, so and the ancient, lunar calendar, which I think, once the patriarch came in control and started venerating the sun more than the moon being more of a feminine arc, they started bad rapping the old calendar and the feminine and things of this sort. So 13 has a little bit of a bad reputation for that. Again, we did that, so but
men made 13 a dirty whore, basically. Turned 13 into a taboo number when it was completely organic and lunar. Before that, we won our system at 12. Yeah, that's pretty typical. We threw what's her name? I'm trying to think of Lilith out of the garden. Basically,
there seems to be a lot of that when these ancient, but it's funny because some of that stuff, the lunar stuff, still exists in some of the holidays and some of the celebrations and many of the world religions as we know it today. Not just Judaism, Christianity, Islam. The lunar aspect is still there. It's kind of hidden, and all that stuff became hidden from us. But I know. Yeah. People who study this know very well that these are related to these old astrological phenomenon,
Yeah, as science became more popular, it just got pushed aside. Even Carl Jung was an astrologer, but no one talks about that. No one talks about it. They call him a school psychologist. It's like, school psychology, he was an astrologer.
more than
yeah, he
more
was. Yeah, he was a wizard. He was brilliant. Yeah.
I don't know if I brought this up before, but it's good to repeat it, that he referred to numbers as one of the prime archetypes. He used the word, he coined this phrase archetype, that means sort of a pattern or an image or a concept that seems to be universal in the ancient mind all over the world, right? That he believed that.
He coined
What's
that,
that?
huh? He coined
Yes.
archetype, the word archetype?
Yes. Yes.
Wow. I
Yeah.
had no idea. You're
Yeah.
just
That
full of
was his.
interesting information. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he believed that numbers were sort of the prime archetypes, and I tend to agree with him. And
Yeah.
I'm very Jungian in that way. My former therapist used to call me very Jungian. I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, whatever. I was that guy that went to therapy and then debated my therapist. I'm like, why am I paying this guy? You know,
I'm the same way every time.
so
I'm the
absurd.
same
But anyway,
way. I end
yeah,
up teaching them about
right,
consciousness. Like,
right. And
we're
I'm
not
like, all
done
right,
saying I'm better. It's just that we're on different pages, you know? Yeah.
totally. So basically, the idea was, he said that he believed that numbers weren't, that human beings didn't sort of create numbers. They sort of discovered what already existed as this sort of archetype that already existed within sort of our subconscious minds, and they just discovered. And I thought that was really powerful concept, you know.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, he studied astrology, tarot, and all that stuff. He was a total mystic, you know, and the
Yeah.
godfather of psychoanalytical astrology. I mean, psychology, you know,
Yeah.
and but
Totally.
saw connections to the things that you and I do, you know. So he's one of the
Totally.
team. He's definitely on the team.
He definitely is. I mean, that's one person I wish I look forward to talking to in heaven. Yeah. So let's bring it to the present here. We're in an 8-year, right?
Right.
So we talked about that briefly in the last time we talked. Tell us just, what does an 8-year mean to you? And when was the last 8-year? Do we go to a 9-year next? Does it just cycle like that?
So look, these are what's called universal numerological cycles, where we sort of loop the entire planet, based on the calendar year. Never been a huge fan of those things. I think we paint with too much of a broad brush with that. But I'll say that 8 does signify, theoretically, some growth in the financial realms. And now that's, I think, when we go a little too far, and there's people out there struggling right now still, and some people who are working paycheck to paycheck, and we have inflation and we have things like that, maybe they're not really feeling the growth. But I will say this, that there's been a lot of record highs in the stock market since sort of the end of last year going into this year.
Mm-hmm.
And which I'm not mad at.
Right.
I'm not mad at it. But I think we also have to understand that not everybody is helped by that. But also we have to look at the unemployment rate, right? Jobs have been strong, right? And now we also have these other factors, inflation and things like this, which are problematic, and some of that's sticking. And so that might be hurting some people, and so we have to be sensitive to that. I say, generally speaking, there's been some improvement. Inflation has gone down,
Mm-hmm.
and the stock market is up, and
Mm-hmm.
and there seems to be a good amount of jobs, based on the statistics. So I would say that, yeah, on a general level, one can make the argument that the 8, which signifies sort of financial abundance and growth, things like that, we see some evidence of that. But again, if you're going through some personal trials and tribulations, you don't want to hear that shit. It's like,
It's hard to hear. Although I'd say, probably the homeless are probably being fed a bit more than usual. There's probably more shelters out there than usual. There's
yeah,
certainly more generosity to the migrants who've come across the border. So even these people who
yeah,
are poor, there is a lot of generosity, a lot of outreach I'm seeing. I'm not
yeah,
seeing skeletons on the streets.
yeah.
So we're getting along,
I
you
think
know.
I think there's something to what you're saying. Yeah, I do say, I just try not to, I see people send me stuff. I have friends of mine like, do you see this guy in TikTok? And he's like, it's in an 8-year, everyone's going to become multimillionaires, And it's just like,
Yeah.
that's not what that means. People,
Just Sarah. Yeah. Yeah.
we've talked about this before, about people out there who are not well understanding of the craft,
Yeah.
oversimplifying and building things up. And so I'm not down. That's why I try to be cautious with that stuff. But yeah, I do agree that, we're I think things have, even in India's economy has grown exponentially. They're saying that's where a lot of, and that, they're a country with a lot of poverty, and yet they're having tremendous growth over there right now. So
Mm.
I think there's some evidence for that. I would say that this is a good time, maybe generally speaking, to be aggressively pursue your goals. You know,
Okay.
to if there is some energy that you want to tap into, maybe there's a little bit of this positive energy as far as materializing things, and maybe there's nothing wrong with taking advantage of this time and saying, hey, I want to start up a business. I want to work a little harder to see if I can get better return. I want to invest more intelligently. I want to do things that make sense to increase my income. And you know what, if you can afford it, maybe enjoy a little bit too, because that's another part of the eight. you know
Oh,
uh,
really?
I think so. Yeah, I think there's a if you can, it's not a bad time to take a little bit of a vacation if you can afford it, and enjoy some of the fruits of your labors. That's a part
Mm.
of the eight. You know,
Mm.
we don't have to live
Interesting.
in on complete austerity. You know,
Yeah.
so I think that's I see some evidence of it. I just don't. You're not going to have me doing TikTok videos telling everyone to become rich because we're in 8 year. You know,
Never
so
say never.
next week.
Yeah.
So I have some information for you.
I can see you. Well, it's interesting. I mean, what I always find fascinating is like Uranus and Jupiter are both in Taurus. So in astrology, that's a very, very profitable. Uranus and Taurus is literally inflation, literally the innovation of what value is. Bitcoin really started to take off once Uranus hit into Taurus. So the astrology has always amazed me. The astrology is always in sync. I can see the same story coming through the planets as I do sometimes through the numbers. So walk me through the next couple of years, just for people who are very question mark after this election. People are very kind of, we've been beat up with COVID. We lost our freedoms. We got them back. Everyone's a little
Yeah.
nervous. After an 8 year, is it a 9 year?
Yeah. And by the way,
Okay.
you brought up a great point with Uranus, how which represents sort of futuristic technology. The reason why the stock market is up is much of that is artificial intelligence, the AI.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
Nvidia, Microsoft, a lot of these tech companies investing in all of these, artificial intelligence systems, and profitability from that. And so it goes to saying that that Uranus Jupiter thing seems to be sort of working. And again, it's interesting that's happening in an 8 year. I have
Yeah.
to admit that this seems to coincide,
Yeah.
right?
It's very interesting. And I
Yeah,
know it's interesting just seeing Microsoft back on top,
right,
and Google now inferior with their AI and suddenly no longer the darling of the internet. So you're seeing a real shift in eight power. I think eight is power. So you're seeing a change of the guards, like Tesla and X is suddenly in power. TikTok is being taken down from its power. I
right.
look at eight as Saturn, and Saturn is power too. So a lot of switching and changing up of the guard.
So I think the thing that was to your point was that how Microsoft overtook Apple in market cap,
Yeah.
and became the most, you know, by market cap, the biggest company in the world. And
Yep.
Microsoft is an old school company
Yeah.
that doesn't just rely on making phones or something like that. You know,
Right.
they're conservative since PCs and software and cloud and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so the old school, back in the day, Microsoft, which is a little bit less innovative theoretically than Apple, but
Yeah.
Apple I think is been a little bit resting on their laurels. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not. I mean, I think they, the last two iterations of the iPhone have not been a huge, change for me. They've really been. They haven't really put too much AI into their stuff, but I think they got the message now, and I think they're going to be doing some stuff moving forward. You know,
I think they ran through all of Steve Jobs' notes. They ran out of Steve Jobs' notes. We've reached the end of what he had thought of. Like
but
so now they don't have the innovation without him, and I don't think they have any kind of replacement wizard energy in the company like they once did. So it's interesting to see them rotating also, in the shift again, a shift of power.
I think they need some new blood, personally,
Yeah,
over
I do
there.
too.
And to your point there, but yeah, so next year we do go into, there is a generalization here. Just mind you that we are going into a 9 year universal year. Again, I don't want to put too much into that, other than the fact that there may be some transitional stuff happening. So there might
Uh-huh.
be, well, nine is the ending of a 9 year cycle. So we might see sort of some conclusion or an ending, if you will, of certain types of things, a phasing out, if you will. And I will say that in a personal 9 year, things that come up in a 9 year are for healing, things that we need to, stuff from the past that is unresolved, that we may have to tie up loose ends, or we might have people from our past, or we might have something that happens to trigger some deeper things in ourselves that we need to heal and release, which is like more like the work that I do. Now, if you think about that on a macrocosm, think about society in general, right? A little bit of the shadow might be me coming up again, that we need to confront some things to heal,
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense no matter what happens.
Right.
Just because, in this country, half the country will not be happy. Right. And so that's what I was concerned with the 9 year. Now in astrology, I have a lot of nines in me. But interesting. I think I'll do great. Like, I'm looking forward to it. Right. Just by how things are building up. And then after a 9 year, does a 10 year come, or does it go back to 1?
Well, it goes back to 1 again, but we're only using single digit numerology right now, but for some simplicity. But yeah, what'll happen is, look, I don't want to get too political because I'm not into that too much, but let's just say this. If one side loses, there's going to be a come to Jesus moment, as to why they lost. It's very contentious, very adversarial, and politics become very cult-like, and it's tearing the nation apart, and which I'm against. I'm against anything that makes us look at the other person and says, "Oh, they're on the other side, and we're not Americans anymore." We need to come together, because if we're not together, then that's when the nefarious stuff starts to happen. Because a divided land is a weakened land. And that's just a fact.
Divide and conquer. You're right.
Yeah. And so there will be some political come to Jesus moments, and some people we're going to have to, some movements are going to be phased out, or maybe, ostracized. We're going to have to realize that approach didn't work, whatever that is. And we'll let fate take its course, decide what that is, and who's having the come to Jesus moments. But something like that is going to be happening. And I think people are going to be, another term for 9 is a reevaluation. Is this really working for us? Is this approach to life really working, that we are adversarial? Is that really going to help us? Interestingly enough, I did an interview right before COVID hit that was never published. And I never knew what happened to it, because I called the writer and she just went MIA. And she said, "What was the purpose of this year coming up?" And I said, to learn to cooperate and come together and not split ourselves up. And so she said, "Well, what does that mean?" I said, "Well, I think something's going to happen to force us to come together as a group and work together. But if not, then create a trouble." Now, of course, I had no idea.
What were you thinking back? What were you? Because the planets were showing that shift was going to hit the fan too. We had Saturn and Pluto conjunct on January 12th, which was pretty much, probably when the first case of the virus came over the United States.
Right.
But us astrologers knew something was coming. We knew something profound was coming that would basically crack power, and that any kind of corrupted power would be exposed too. What did you feel knowing that was, what did you think we were going to come together over, like Farm Aid or something?
Well, 2020, right? 2020. So
yeah, I feel boundaries. I feel boundaries. Yeah.
That's it. So 2 has to do with, we talked about duality earlier, about the eyes of deceit, and this side and that side, and the illusion of separateness, right? That would be exacerbated, or we would be tested in the boundaries.
Wow.
Our boundaries would be tested, as far as how we go and the decisions that we make. And there'd be a lot of powerful shifting consciousness, because 2 is also one of these numbers that we have insights and revelations and things of this sort. And so I thought, wow, that is really 20 twice, 2020, right?
Yeah.
So, I've counseled people with the number 20, God knows how many times in the last quarter century. So I know what the number means on a personal level, but to apply it on a universal level, right, was very powerful to me. So I didn't know exactly what the catalyst was going to be, but I knew it would change our consciousness about life forevermore, that it could either we'd have to come together, right, or we would be pulled apart, and that we'd have to learn boundaries and cooperation, both. And so
that's really interesting.
The place completely epitomizes that,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that article. So I was like tripped out. Like,
They're on a
I don't know
different.
where she went. I never found her again. She's literally off the face of the earth.
It was
Right?
probably the aliens just sending in a spy to talk to a numerologist about Earth. Like beam someone down to Josh, see what's going on. Well, you know what's interesting when you say about that? Because 2020, it's like we did a split in two emotional camps.
Yes,
We've been stuck in those two emotional camps since. We haven't ever come,
100%.
we never come back to 2000. We're all in the same emotional camp, which is interesting because 2000 was like, we're worried about Y2K, but 2000 was like this unifying moment. Like the whole world, you saw all the fireworks, the end of the millennia, you're watching them around
Yeah.
the world, fireworks. It was like this unification. And 2020 was like complete, like you're in his camp or you're in his camp. That's it.
This has damaged our country. There's no question about it. And
Yeah.
it is, and what's going to, I believe in the 9 year is that we're going to have some, reckoning, if you will. There'll be a reckoning about how, this dualistic, antagonistic approach has not done anything good for our country, and it doesn't do good for wars, and killing each other and things of this sort. And I think out of that, some of these movements or some aspect of the movement or some philosophy or belief system is going to have to go, at least partially in that 9 year, and that will come. And then we complete that phase, which means, as you pointed out, the next year there will be sort of a new start. Something is going to birth out of that process, and
2026 is a new start. 2027, then a 2 year. A lot of people I've had on this show keep talking about 2027. Like in human design is supposedly a whole new era. Like, I don't even know, but in human design, like chakras split every so many centuries. Like
really?
chakras split.
Okay.
Yeah. Chakras split and create new centers. And apparently there's a new power center opening up in 2027. But a lot of mystics that have come here have told me that 2027 is the big shift. I've had people who channel aliens. They say 2027 is a big year. So that's a 2 year. What can you imagine happening in a 2 year?
So I don't consider that just a 2 year.
Okay. How do you look at it?
I consider that an 11 year.
Oh,
which is a master number. Because if you add that together, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 7 is an 11, actually. Now, of course, an 11 is a 2 when you add 1 and 1 and add it down to 2.
Right.
So I don't fully comprehend what's going on with with some of these other systems, but I can assure you of this: 11 is a very powerful version of a 2 that does seem to have a dramatic impact and a massive shift opportunity. It's quantum shift that we call that, and just again, I work more so with people's personal lives than I do on the universal level, but giving you example, it's not shocking when a person in an 11 year to completely change their careers or finally have a breakthrough or finally face something in their life and make a big decision to move in another direction and to change, patterns and everything. It's extremely powerful. So if you take that to the macrocosm, maybe there's some truth to what they're saying in that year, right? So if you look at the arc here in the 9 year, I think things are going to come to a head, and then we're going to have some come to Jesus moments and some reevaluation and maybe some, leaving behind certain things. And it's probably going to be a bit uncomfortable.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm being diplomatic about that,
Yeah, you are. Yes, Libra, you are. And you're good at it. So does it go 9, 1 to 11 years? Is that how it goes? 9, 1, 11 in that order? There's no 10. Interesting.
Well,
interesting.
I mean,
there is, but how do you look at
it? It's a 10-1 if you want to look at it the double digit, right?
Oh, okay, it's a 10-1. Okay.
Right. So you would look at that as 10, the decade numbers just imply an intensity. So 0 isn't a number, it's sort of an amplifying force. So therefore a 10-1 would be sort of a powerful new beginning, a new start, creating a new path, and sort of moving past the beyond what we did before and creating a lot of new blood and a pioneering new spirit. And I'm assuming that leads us to this 11-2 in which maybe we're ready for some bigger shifts during that time frame, But remember, shifts are very, how they operate. They can happen very quickly. 11 is a kinetic energy. It's very 11 absolutely in my mind associates with Uranus. It is very fast, quick, changeable energy. And remember, Uranus is about sort of futuristic things and higher consciousness and things of this sort. So 11 is very much a part of that. So, so I figure something like that probably will be happening. I agree.
I've always seen 11 as like just when things come back into alignment, like that there's this, the glyph of 11 itself tells you, line yourself up, get in a straight line, come back into integrity. So there's this, to me, this it's almost, to me, it's the healing force. To me, 11 is a healing energy where you are healed.
Yeah, but you know, when they do that, they knock somebody on their ass. I mean, they bitch slap these people, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
That's true.
It's like
That's
the
true.
tower card in the tarot, you know, the bolt coming down, right? So the divine bitch slap, as I call it, you know? So,
Wow. Yeah.
so those are powerful energies for sure.
They are powerful. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be powerful to watch. I appreciate your insight.
Yeah.
And we have a bunch of people here. So you and I are going to do some, let's switch now to individuals because this has been a
Right.
great discussion. And we have some questions that we have gathered here. And I thought you and I would tag team. I'm just going to go, we're just going to go with their date of birth. And I'm going to look up here in my program, their chart. I don't know their time or anything. The date of birth is 11/14/60. And we don't know who this is, unfortunately. 11/14/60. And when you're ready, I'll tell you the question.
Okay,
And
hold on.
yeah, go ahead. And I'm going to pull mine up too.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And the question is for this person, will there be a move for me in the next 1 to 2 years? Will I move to another state? That's the question.
Okay.
Will this person relocate the next couple?
Okay. I'm going to start off with this. So first of all, I just want to bring the caveat here. We're doing shotgun readings.
Yep.
I'm only using the birth date. Now,
Correct.
people know when they consult me, the meat of the chart, the biggest numbers of the chart come from the name. So I'm operating only off the life path and the cycles. I don't have all the other information, but there are some, you know, I've done this a very long time. So as we all know, from the gray hair, but the idea here is I'm understanding that we're a little bit limited as to what I can see, but I'm going to see from the information that I have, I'm going to, you know, give my insight to it. So I just wanted that out there in front, the caveat here. So that aside, I want to say this, I can answer that there is a high likelihood of a move because statistically speaking, okay, we've learned in numerology, what cycles are people more, you know, we would say typically we see moving than other cycles, right? And the two most prominent cycles, you know, people can move under any cycle. But I'm saying statistically, when you see it more often, a 6-year or a 9-year. So this person
interesting.
is in a 6-year.
Oh.
Right. It doesn't even matter what kind of a 6. In her case, it's a 33/6. So it brings a little bit more intensity to it, probably a little bit more emotional stuff going on, maybe in the home or relationship or things of this sort. But however, I'd say that a move is likely, and I would say that maybe slightly more by the end of this year as opposed to next year. I can't rule out next year. I'm just saying by the end of this year, a little bit more. Now, as far as moving out of state, that's a little bit. It's hard to know. I'll say this: she does have, or he or she has a 41/5 life path. 5 is a restless number, and 5's like treatment, change, and travel and movement. They're not against it. Now, maybe she has some other counter numbers in her name, which I don't have, but suffice to say that move is highly likely. Out of state, not uncommon for a 5 to have a bigger change like that in life. So I say that strong on the move, a little bit less clear if it's going to be out of state, but definitely a little bit more possible than not because of the 5 life path.
Interesting. Nice. Brilliant. My disclaimer, I don't have their time of birth or their city of birth. So I too am operating blindfolded and doing a party trick here.
Right. We are. We're totally doing party
How many
tricks, right?
times are you courted at a
Yeah.
party where you do this, dude? I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm the most popular guy at the party because I know all the stuff. That said, this person is a 22-degree Scorpio, and Scorpios have Pluto in their fourth house right now. So
Right.
I'll go so bold as to say every Scorpio is
Right.
probably going to be moving
Right.
somewhere, at least minimally. And being a 22 Scorpio, I would think that it probably is out of state because this is a person who likes to change the whole dimension at a time. The 22-degree
Right.
Scorpio, they like a complete dimensional shift. So I would imagine they want something that at least feels like another state if it is another state. So
Right.
I completely confirm and affirm. Great. Yeah, that was
Hey, we're
good,
on the
man.
same page.
All right, one down. Let's see. Let's do another one, buddy. That was fun. This is
Yeah.
like hitting golf balls together. This is from Brony, and she's her birthday is, oh, but she's not saying, there's no question here. So we're just going to, I guess, do a free for all. What comes up? The
Okay.
birthday is September 24th, 1963.
Okay.
September 24th, 1963. All right.
All right. Want to go first on this one? No. Switch it up.
Okay. Sure. So, I mean, this is a 0-degree Libra, I think. Depends on what time they were born. So, this person, I'll just say what's coming up for spirit is, this is a huge year of transformation. By the end of the year, when the south node goes over your sun, you're going to have you're going to have a major change of heart, maybe even in relationships with the north node in Aries. And the other aspect too is that it's really time with Saturn and Pisces for you to find a lifestyle that is spiritually on the right level for you. So that's what I'll say. What comes up for you, Josh?
So something similar. She's in a 41-5 year. So this is the year that we want to break the mold and travel and look into new things in life and not play it, too safe. Sometimes people will engage in some new activities or side gigs or, launch something new in their life. However, as we get closer to the fall and some of your followers who had sessions with me know that I'm a believe that towards the fall, we start to pick up on the next year's cycle a bit. And
Mm-hmm.
go into that, she is going into a 42-6, which does sort of saying, okay, where is my security going to be? Where am I going to be, settling down, or what are my commitments are going to be in life, right? And it does, 6 does have to do with interpersonal relationships as well. And so that there's going to be a spotlight on that. Right now, she's still sort of in the freedom zone, free zone. But as the year progresses, getting a little more serious about what's going on in her personal life, her home, and relationships, and things like that's going to come up. She's a 52-7 life path, so she has to balance her own personal space with her connections to others. She needs a little more independence, a little more quiet time. She might be even a little bit more of a cave dweller from time to time, and it's very important that she has trust in her life with the people around her, because she will cut people out when she perceives that there's been a breakage of trust. But there is a spiritual element to that number, and I think there's going to be a balance between her personal relationships and her connection, family, and things like that coming up, and her need for her own space and her own purpose. Whether that be spiritual or time for herself, that's going to be sort of on the horizon as we move into the fall.
Where do you get need space in their own cave from 52-7? I'm just curious how that adds up in your mind.
So I call that it is a bit of a separation energy. First of all, it's a highly intelligent number, and it's very has a beautiful mind that can separate fact from fiction, and it's very much into research and knowledge and a little bit of nerd information, and they can get degrees, they can be either spiritual or very intellectual, and sometimes even both. However, usually there's a bit of a disconnect or separation from a parent growing up that causes one to be a little bit more within themselves in a protective way, a coping mechanism. Later on in life, that can mean, that we're a little bit more prone to separations or detachments from people. Now, I've known 52-7s who are married and have kids and all that too. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying a little bit more prone to have some separations. And it's important to understand that even a very healed and awakened 52-7 still needs more time for the 7, which is inner work. So that's meditation, spirituality, or just our own quiet time. So even ones that are happily married and have kids still need more time alone, doing their own thing for their rest and relaxation and, their nervous systems and their quiet time. It's just that sometimes if things are going not so well with people, they can, cut off from them as well. And so, we just need a little bit more of our own time more than the average person. And that's an important part of our spiritual growth. So we have to keep that balance with others.
That's fascinating. In the step system I use, 5 is Mercury, the mind. 2 is emotion, the moon.
Yep.
And these people are very, very, very sharp-minded because they counterbalance their logic with their feelings.
Yeah.
And it adds to a 7, which means that they're Neptunian. And so to me, Neptune-ruled people, 7-ruled people do need a lot of private meditation, away time, sacredness with their own consciousness. So my system completely aligns with that analysis. That's amazing.
Amazing. I love it.
That is so cool. Okay, let's keep playing. You can play along for a little while longer. Okay.
Yeah.
The next guest is Kathleen. No question here, but the date of birth is January 25th, 1971. Kathleen, January 25th, 1971. Let me look up mine here. Ooh, okay. We should book parties, buddy. We'd make a killing.
I know. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
All right. So she needs to be prepared for what's coming up. And it is coming in this power cycle that I see happening for now. Think about this. Her life path is a 44-8, okay, which is a master number version of 8. We got the 2 4s. We're adding to an 8. And so 8 has to do with your self-worth and your self-value, but it's also an empowerment number. And it can, a 44 can be a project manager, it can be a business owner, it can be someone in a position of authority and power. It can be someone who's able to build the large-scale projects and see the big picture. So it's a very powerful number, as long as we've gotten over some of the sort of the survival mode anxiety from the 4s, which might have been in the childhood, some maybe taking on some of the anxiety or concerns of a parent about keeping things together. We move beyond sort of their surviving to thriving, and we're empowerment. That's a very powerful number, which means the 35-8 cycle, which is coming up in 2025. And I told you that cycles will kick in prior. So sometimes as soon as late summer, but certainly by the fall. And this could be her time, to manifest and achieve some, larger goals for greater success. It could be increase of income. It could be change of status. It could be taking on more and what they think is possible. And so we want to really, what's our self-worth? What's our self-belief? We get past any of the old, either poverty-stricken or anxiety about stability stuff from the childhood. Are we ready now to expand into the larger level? Because it's coming, and this is a time frame to prepare. Sometimes there might be some research and development, or they're trying to figure out how to do something. They're trying to figure out some pathway for them. They really ought to be ready by the fall, because this could be a big change moment for them.
The fall of this year.
This year, 100%.
Yeah, interesting.
Do not wait till next year.
Yeah, they'll probably, well, interesting enough. So in my world, 448 is innovation, and be in command. So take a higher thing even higher. So I see the same kind of power structure. And this person's a 4-degree Aquarius, and 4 is the number of Aquarius in my system. So this is what we call a grand master manifester, someone who can law of attract almost instantly. If they shift their frequency, by shifting their frequency, they draw in what they're wanting pretty quickly. What's interesting is Pluto is heading for this person's sun. It's currently at 2 degrees with a 2-degree orb. And so that 2-degree orb, I find with Pluto, is the most radioactive orb there is. When Pluto's 2 degrees away, it starts to break down and transform. So the astrology shows this person is absolutely about to completely, chameleon into a new vibration here within the next year. So you're hitting it more on the head with this fall.
Wow. And I love how, Pluto can rule empowerment. Pluto can be empowerment, power, the plutocrat, right? And the sun is our identity. And so the Pluto coming over the sun can transforms an identity and an empowerment. And I believe it was that astrologer we talked about before, Noel Till, who talked about that one can attain prominence when the Pluto delivers a hard aspect by transit to the sun or the moon or an angle of the chart. And the sun certainly is, one of the 2 lights. So again, there's the possibility of some prominence or achievement for this person if they're ready for the transformation.
Yeah, if they're really going to go, I think with Pluto, you got to go limp. you can't fight it. You have to just let, like in a car accident, you just got to go limp and just let the forces take you and not resist, because resistance is what I think makes it harder. Pluto quite often is related to destruction, but in those cases, it's only what needed to go, like the
Yeah.
recycling the recycling tide. So if you're not going to hold on to something that needs to go, I think it's very powerful. Yeah, it's where that struggle makes you into who you are kind of energy.
Right. And remember what I mentioned before about the two fours that can signify some concerns, anxieties, or worries about stability and survival and things of this sort, irregardless of the financial situation growing up. It can signify, maybe are you ready to confront and move through those things to take on the larger scale, opportunity to manifest on a bigger level. And so,
Mhm.
Pluto always had a little bit of the dark side of in dark side of the self in there, but the shadow self. But I think something quite opportunistic is going to be happening for her. I believe so.
I believe so too.
Yeah.
And to me, the instability of to me, four seeks stability.
Right.
Four seeks stability. And so anything that is not stable is forced to be reckoned with. That to me is the anxiety you're describing in a four.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. We can
Yeah.
confront that. We can attract things that affect our stability to help us build stability from within.
Yeah. And to me, what I coach, it's the heart that will find that the right place to stand. Like, so to me, a lot of times the four that's unstable is because they're not aligned with their heart. They're letting their mind rule or their emotions rule. And so as a result, they're sort of fractioned and they are kind of frayed. Like there's a kind of a fray there going on. If you notice, I don't know.
Well,
Um,
survival mode, yeah. I mean, a lot of
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of people with strong four energy had a parent that maybe had a lot struggled with work, or they had a lot of work to do, or they had some leftover concerns themselves about stability and maybe how they grew up, and they internalized a lot of that and manifest that in their own life. But they got to get past that. This is the look at the time frame, how old they are. This is their time for sure, in my view. You know.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. And I think any Aquarius now is actually just being called the stage with Pluto in Aquarius. I think all Aquariuses, the whole race of that sign, are ready to do something.
Boom, for
Yeah,
sure.
totally. Okay. This is going great. I'm loving it. Let's see. The next one is March 24th, 1975, Neat 2. March 24th, 1975, Neat 2 is her name. Okay. Ooh, 3-degree Aries is what I have in my calculation here.
Okay. You want to go first on this one?
Sure. So energetically, this is a 3-degree Aries. This person actually is, I think, about to do some profound transformation herself. She's going through what we call a Chiron return, which
Wow.
means in this particular year, she is going to face whatever shadow she has once and for all and get on top of it. This is where she moves from the really the wound to the healer. So this is the transformative year from wound to healer, basically. That's what I
Amazing.
see.
Amazing. So she's in an 8-year, 35 8-year, which means she's going to be going into a 36 9-year. I talked about the cycle coming
Oh,
next year is a 9-year. And what did I say about 9 years and how they pertain to a person? We heal, release the things from the past. So what you just said with the Chiron return is 100% completely on board with this cycle.
wow.
Now, I also said that 9 years can bring, moves, but not always, 6 years as well. But usually, typically in a 9-year, which usually starts probably by the summer, fall of this year, going to go all the way through next year and even a little bit into the following year. That's how long that cycle is. I call it the grand transitional cycle, the nine
Oh,
year.
okay. Huh.
And so it's about an 18-month cycle from my experience. She has a 49-13-4 life path. There's that 13-4, and
Mm.
a lot of stuff about work and survival with that number as well. Busting your ass. They tend to overwork, over prepare, over organize, take on a lot. Many of them are successful because they have a great work ethic. Doesn't mean that they're dealing with their emotional stuff. Because 13-4s tend to keep busy and productive. There's a little bit of that nervous, anxious energy that comes underneath that. And I think it's a little bit of a coping mechanism. If I'm busy all the time, I don't have to feel. I don't have to deal with my emotional stuff. And so then they want to slow things down and get her to face some of these things and heal and release that. And then she may make some changes as she goes into the following year after that, which, 2026, which is going to be a new start for her. And I think, again, with that Chiron return, which seems to coincide with this healing cycle 9, that this will be a much lighter with person with a new perspective and saying, I want to run my life differently. I want to keep more space for my heart, my emotional connections. I want to enjoy my life more so and not have it so overwhelmed by stabilizing at work. 13 fours tend to be the stabilizer for everybody, logistical put out fires, and even in their personal life, they fix and stabilize people. And it just takes on too much, kind of release a lot of that stuff and work on the inner self, and then have a healthier lifestyle. It's going to be much better for her coming out of that cycle,
what's fascinating is she has Jupiter at 1 degree Aries, which literally says that her fortune will open when she stops and slows down and loves herself first. So that's just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've actually met this person too. And she's like constantly worried about me. It's like, what about you, honey? So I can personally, by the way, she said in the chat, she said, spot on, Josh, spot on.
Oh, great.
Beautiful. Okay. We're going to do 2 more, and close down this party. The next one is a Leo, 8/16/1952. 8/16. I feel like it's a bingo, like a cosmic video game. 8/16/1952.
You win.
Yes. You're the next contestant. All right. Ooh, okay.
Goodness.
Yep. This is a Leo. This is a Venus ruled Leo.
2-5. Wow. Okay. So, again, we get the 5 energy again, 41-5 life path. Now currently in a 32-5 year. So we have a 5 life path with a 5 year happening, right?
Okay.
So, and we just came out of a 9-month in April, right? So 9 months under a 5 year. So pretty transitional, so what does this mean? It really depends. I mean, I don't have the rest of the chart. Sometimes if you're a 5 and you've limited yourself a little bit and your life's been a little bit too restrictive, the 5 want to shake things up. You might get restless. Sometimes that means just traveling a little bit or doing something on the side. Other 5 years, people make some bigger changes and decide to, break the mold a bit, but look, it also depends where you are in life and what you do. And we have to look at it. That I tend to think that this is just I don't know why my intuition isn't telling me this, but I feel like she needs to have some adventures and fun for herself this year. That's my feeling. And that, maybe taking care of others and thinking about others. I think she needs to sort of do her thing, have fun, do things that maybe she hasn't done before, maybe she always wanted to do, because by the end of the year, going to next year, she'll be in that 33-6 and she's going to be dealing with family and relationship stuff and home stuff. I honest to God, I want her just to have fun this year and not be constricted or limited by anything, and do things that maybe she wanted to do before, and and maybe if she has the space to do them now, do it. That's what's coming to me.
What's the significance when you're in your own number year?
It can have a big significance, it depends on, how old you are and how much work you've done on yourself. So, are
you returning home that year? Is that like a home year for you, like homeroom in high school?
So a 5 shouldn't be playing it too safe in life. They should be involved in work that is challenging and innovative, or taking chances, or some speculative enterprise. A lot of time 5 can also be good at communications, marketing, promoting, and selling, and things of this sort. It's an exciting number, an innovative number. If your life, look, we don't know what the rest of the numbers are, and that's why it gets a little tricky. But if you've been playing too safe or too limited in her life, this might be, the 5 might shake things up to get her to break free of conventions. So sometimes 5s can bring some instability to it, or changeable frequencies that can sometimes be a little unsettling. But other times it can really activate something in a person to, break new ground and do new things in life. And it can be fun and exciting that way, travel and, and maybe some new interests. It depends where you are in it. My feeling is that she needs to go for it this year, and not worry about other people as much. That's just what I got from it.
Well, I'll tell you this, the astrology affirms completely. One, Saturn's is heading for her moon, and Neptune's on her moon, and it's in her 8th house. So basically what that means is that she's about to do a pretty big life transformation in the next year. She's going to change a lot of comfort zones, probably be outside of her comfort zone.
Yep.
She's also going through a Jupiter return,
Wow.
which has just happened, which means that it's a shift of beliefs, like a change of the story, a change of the direction that you want to take the story. It also means opportunity. What's that?
What sign is that in? The Jupiter return?
Taurus.
Taurus.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jupiter's in Taurus. So her Jupiter is natally in Taurus.
Right. Got it.
So she's just had her return. It just happened. Like, so in a Jupiter return, you kind of come to like, okay, that was a fun trip around the block. Now what? So when you have a Jupiter return, it's every 12 years.
Right.
It's sort of like you change your school of thought. I used to be in the school of thought that I should do this. Now I think I should do that. So there's a new, you should all over yourself for a while.
Right.
I should be doing this. I should be doing that. But then after that, you finally find your direction. And fortune comes when there's a Jupiter return. It's like, I wish I had a good therapist. Here they are. Like, it just sort of shows up automatically. Yep. It's like instant attraction.
Right. And Jupiter is opportunity. And Taurus would be your values and security and things of this sort. And it's really coming in, Jupiter likes to be more expansive and not worry about things like that. So,
right.
Yeah, say, hey, growth, possibility, expand. And Taurus is like, well, we got to, do this a certain way. And and then you have all that 8th house stuff is wow. Okay. So, I just feel like this is a transformational time for her, but I definitely, she should be thinking outside the box in her life, try new things, travel, break new ground, don't restrict her life, don't get stuck, but as the, end of the year comes, then she'll be in that 6th cycle. That's why I want her to continue, if she's doing anything that is making her, excited or opportunistic, do it, take the opportunities, do it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Do it. We'll keep encouraging you.
Yep.
And write in and tell me and Uncle Josh here how it went. All right, we'll do our final one, Josh, and we'll close off the party with this one. This one goes to Carol. Her birthday is August 2nd, 1961. I do have a question for this one too, but let me run her chart. August 2nd, 1961. Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Wow.
And her question is, will the business, excuse me, throat chakra, will the business I'm working to get off the ground, the path I am meant to be on, and will it be successful? So I guess she's asking, is the business she's working on her life path and will it work? So,
super powerful time frame. We just talked about having a life path number reflected in the yearly cycle that they're currently in. So we had a 5 life path in a 5-year. So she's a 27-9 to be exact, with the double 27-9 life path in an 18-9 year.
Wow.
So now, out of all the 9s, which we've talked about are endings and completion cycles, the 18-9 has a different flavor to it. So I call it the peak of ambition. I consider it one of the most powerful cycles, for even more so than an 8 cycle. So I think just superficially, the fact that she's in an 18-9 year, I'd say that it's a good omen, because we see a lot of moving forward and progress in people's lives in a cycle like this. However, 9s bring up some things, typical worries and concerns and issues that we need to let go of at the same time. So let's just understand what her life path is at 27-9. Okay. So I consider that number to have sort of a higher message or a calling to it. Can be creative. Can be a little creative, artistic thing, but it can also have a little bit of a spiritual thing, or at least some something healing or helping or doing something positive. So we want to make sure that the business has some positive impact on other people's lives, that she feels good about it, or maybe has some creative aspect about it that she's passionate about. And also, make sure that she's looking at who she's working with and working for. 18-9 is in a little bit cautionary note about who we're attracting. But just not to be too paranoid, but just make sure that we've got the right kind of team around us that's supportive, and that no one's going to be, dragging things down or has their only dark stuff that they're bringing into the picture. I'm optimistic. I do think the timing is strong for her. We call this the peak of ambition cycle. I do think that this is a good time to launch a business, and I think I don't have I would like to see the other numbers in the chart to get a little more specific here. This is the only one that I wish I had a little bit more information on, because I'd like to see further, like ultimate goal numbers, which tells me higher purpose. Life path doesn't give us higher purpose. It's a part of what we're here to do. It's an important number. It doesn't give us the whole picture. But I would say the mentality this year is that clear out anything that could possibly sabotage your energy. Release anything that gets in your way. Don't be around people who are naysayers. Don't be around people who are negative. Don't be around people who are energy vampires, right? Don't get caught up in sidetrack with all this other stuff, and keep a very positive, directed approach. And if she does that, I do think it will be successful. Yes, that's my answer.
Brilliant. Excellent. I agree with you on the 9 energy about being a little over ambitious and wanting to streamline, like don't overinvest, focus on what's important. Cause I find 9 energies can go in every direction. She's actually a 9-degree Leo.
Oh, wow.
Her sun's at 9 degrees.
No way.
Yeah. So she's living a 9 as a Leo, which means she's a go-getter. She chases after her heart. And the thing is, I'll just go off on a limb here. Her Pluto's at 6 degrees Virgo. So like, it's really important that she takes care of her boundaries in her relationship to herself. She cannot sacrifice herself for the project whatsoever. That's what's going to be a problem. So she can't borrow from herself to pay this off. That's the only thing I would give her. And with the astrology for her as a Leo, this absolutely is the turning point year, I feel. And this is the year, I think all Leos are about to come onto the scene in a big way, just as far as what they're here to do. They're the leaders of love, and we need love. That's the new currency of the new era. So as long as her heart is in it to win it, I think I see success here, especially an intellectual mastermind project, because her Venus is at 28 Gemini. So she's really good at holding the frame. I think the issue here is that she's probably been going a long time, and she's at the end, that last, I was just going to ask you, like the height of ambition. What comes after the height of ambition? What's next after that? That sounds like is that burnout?
So I call it the peak, and usually
the peak of ambition. Excuse me. Yeah.
So there's an establishment of some goal by the end of that cycle. So by the end of 2024, we reach we manifested this. We got this far, right? And then there's a little bit of a transitional time, granted, between 9 going into which will be for her 1910-1, right? And so although it's a very powerful cycle for success, there probably will be some transitional stuff, like some people she's working with, or some aspect of what she does. Maybe she might phase something out, and to start, basically the next phase may require a little bit of shuffling of the cards, so the shuffling of the deck, if you will. But I believe it's going to still work out for her. I still believe it's going to manifest for her. It's just important, again, you want to look at the people you're dealing with. You want to look how you're doing with it, any sabotaging energy, staying positive and being around the right people and things of this sort. And then I think by the end of the year, she will have accomplished a major portion of what she needs to do. And then there'll be some reevaluation. We'll see what needs to go, what needs to stay, what's working, not working. And then, next year will be sort of the next phase of that, and I'd love to have the rest of her information on this one. This one, I'd be able to give a little more pinpoint on that one, but que sera, sera.
I'd buy a reading if I were you, Carol. And we have actually his website up right now. I mean, this is a good time. Actually, you've seen the magic here. You've seen the man. It's josh-seagal.com. We've also put the QR code up too, if we could please, just so people can snapshot that and go to your website. Basically people should shop now. Josh, you have availability, and you do other things besides readings, or are you just like nerd out and people like classes or seminars or anything else I can promote for you?
That's all coming up.
Okay.
I've been a little overloaded lately. And so I'm also planning a trip to Europe this summer.
Wow.
And
Oh, wow.
I'm kind of messing around with the idea of doing kind of a little bit of a spirit quest in Scotland, because I've had this thing about, the ancient castles and Rosslyn Chapel and the Knights Templars and all this stuff. And so I might really start doing a little bit of a mini documentary that I'm going to be posting about sort of some of this ancient knowledge in Scotland. And so not quite sure, but that'll probably interfere with a little bit of my calendar, maybe in July. So I probably best to start signing up now because I travel a lot and I like to go different places and so on and so forth. But yeah, there's a book, there's other things coming. When I'm ready for that stuff and I have time for that, I'll definitely let you know. We're kindred spirits, that's for sure.
Yes, sir. I'll be looking forward to it. I'm already
Yeah.
thinking of a TV series following you in Scotland. I'd be willing to bet that that you have a past life there. I
I'm
totally
almost
believe
certain.
when we have callings like that, it's just, yeah.
Oh, no question. No question. I mean, I'm so old Europe. I mean, I love the ancient sort of this old architecture and the culture, and I'm just so that. And I love Italy in particular. I think it's a beautiful country. Definitely some Roman thing going on with me there as well. But Scotland is this, I've been putting off this trip forever. And I do believe there's some past life there, some Knights Templar things, some sort of ancient, maybe, who knows, druids. Who knows? But I'm going to go to some of these sacred sites and document what I'm feeling and what I'm learning from all of this stuff, and kind of and do a little bit more, because I keep a pretty low profile in my personal life, and I don't post a lot. My PR girl does not like that fact that I don't do anything about that stuff. But I've been keeping my own personal life a little bit separate. I'm going to start doing a little bit more, get out there a little bit more with my life, and me show myself a little bit more, do some interesting, probably through travel and other projects like that. So that's what's coming up.
That's great. That's exciting. I look forward to it. Maybe you can, when you get back, you'll have to come and tell us how it went. How's that?
Oh, for sure.
We talked about getting together maybe in September before the election, and maybe looking at the numerology of whoever happens to be running.
Right.
And, I mean, I'm question mark if it's the slate that it is the way it's going to stay this slate, but you'll have to tell us about how it went, man. So you had a past life flashback. If your third eye burst open and you had a vision of yourself with a bunch of druids. Duncan the Green Man.
Right. I mean, I'm so excited about the trip, and so we'll see. We'll keep in touch, and I'll definitely post some stuff, and on my Instagram, and start doing more things like that. So it's probably going to kick off more of me doing these kinds of things, and moving into writing more about books and doing lectures and talks, and a little bit less readings, because I've been doing them for such a long time. So it's probably a good time to get a session, because I might be paring down on those at some point.
Yep. Good. Everyone, I've only heard amazing things, mind blowing. I can say Devin Dewar was one of the persons who saw his work and thought it was great. Mara, I think, has worked with him too. So my own staff says incredible work, man. And you and I are going to do a trade here around the corner too. We're finally getting to that.
Oh, yeah. I need to talk to you. Yeah. Yeah.
Same here.
Definitely want to dig back into. I heard that the call out on the girl from the past. I was like, oh God.
Yeah. Did you hear the call out? Yeah, I was talking to you.
Yeah, people are like Josh. People are like literally like Josh. Hey, easy killer. Like listen to what he's saying there. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's a test. Don't fall for it. It looks like a mermaid, but it's not.
Yeah, definitely. We got to do that trade soon for sure.
I'm excited, man. I'm here for you. Stay backstage for a minute so we can catch up with our staff. And thank you for coming, man. You are a friend of the show now. We're gonna call you Uncle Josh. Is that okay?
Hey, what's so funny? My best friend and his girlfriend, Teddy and Sylvia, they got this new dog, a Shar-Pei. And for some reason, this dog's taken a great liking to me. And I'm called Uncle Josh to the dog now. So wow. That's what they call me, Uncle Josh, Uncle Josh.
It feels like Uncle Josh is coming over to talk about numbers. I think it's great. So I'm going to go with that so people remember who you are. We'll have a great time. Be safe traveling, brother. It's going to be an exciting summer with Jupiter and Gemini. And I look forward to catching you up with you on the end of it. See how it went.
Hey, I'm looking. And by the way, my descendant is in Gemini, 9 degrees Gemini. So Jupiter's going to cross my 7th cusp, my descendant.
Then you definitely need to be careful about X's right now, dude. We'll talk about it backstage.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We'll talk about it. We'll talk
You got to
about
be careful. I'll let you know why.
it.
It's the
All
Tour
right.
of X is coming soon. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, man. Much
Hey,
love.
been a pleasure.
Everyone was
Total
so
pleasure.
grateful to see you.
Yeah. Likewise. Bye-bye.
All right. That was fun. I love how we're on the show. We're creating family on the show, right? And Uncle Josh, who I'm going to affectionately call Uncle Josh now, man, he is our go-to numerologist. What wisdom, right? All that talk on the history of 33. I'm going to start using that. Like I can now be more interesting at parties. I have all this cool knowledge. And then 13 was also interesting. I didn't realize 13 was a lunar calendar. And then Julius and Augustus Caesar screwed up the calendars. Oh, it's a story, right? Thank you to Josh, Uncle Josh, for being here. We love him. Let's wrap up the show. First of all, oh my gosh, you guys, let me just tell you, first and foremost, Unite the Light. All right. We now have streaming tickets available for Unite the Light. We'd love to see you on camera. It's going to be a huge Zoom webinar. If you're a Serious Joy subscriber or a Minnow Pond subscriber, Minnow Pond subscribers or who are parts of Minnow Pond, they have a coupon code also. It'll be released through their channels. So Chris Reck is going to be at this event. Scott Cruz is going to be at this event. Myself, my whole staff of Serious Joy. And we're all going to be doing little lectures on how this is a new era that we're stepping into. We're calling it a spiritual show and tell on Saturday. We're going to sure talk about you're going to learn about the behind the scenes of Serious Joy, how we created it, what we did with it, what we're doing, our secret plans for the age of light. And you're going to have that sort of presentation from 6 people on Saturday and a number of people doing panels on Sunday. So you'll be able to watch. You'll have a upfront seat. The only difference is people who attend have a dinner that they're going to on that night, and we will not stream the dinner because it's a dinner. You don't watch a bunch of people eating. Yum, but we will stream 8 hours on Saturday and Sunday. So if you want to be a part of this, grab yourself a live streaming ticket. We will have people in the webinar. Actually, we'll do some backstage interviews with people. It's really going to be an amazing show. Really, to me, this is what we're trying to create here is an annual show where the lightworkers come together, an annual summit with lightworkers and put that footprint into the ground. And if you can't be there with us literally in person, we'll come stream your consciousness into this event and be a part of it with us. We look forward to it. Have watch parties, you name it. Okay. UniteTheLight.love. It's part of the .love economy, as I like to say. The Mega Monthlies are available on SeriousJoy.cloud and also SeriousJoy.com. If you don't know, the Mega Monthlies are me doing monthly horoscopes for all 12 signs. You can download yours right now on SeriousJoy.cloud. If you'd like to purchase one, it's an easy purchase and download. Watch it for the whole month. I walk through the compound of the Mega Monthlies and Taurus and how to do this I manifest potential for all 12 signs. You can get your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign if you want. They're available at the .cloud. There's also a golden mega address as well that walks you through the full month. And then there's a workshop at the end with one subscriber talking about their chart and how the month will affect them. So we're giving you all the tools at SeriousJoy.cloud and SeriousJoy.com. If you want to treat yourself like a king or queen, come on down to SeriousJoy.com and be a part of our community. It's going to be terrific. Also, I want to put out there, we have a new show. I don't know if you've noticed, I am part of an ensemble cast next Monday, Leading Out Loud, LOL. We are going live every Monday night. It's a little entourage of people. We've shifted the focus to the show. So we're going to do some tag team readings of the energy of the world first. So we're going to open up and give like a weather report for everyone, a surfing energy report. It has Scott Cruz, Psychic Medium, myself, Chris Reck, Tarot Master, and Devin Doer, Angel Communicator. So it's kind of cool to get that full perspective of all these different spiritual visions. And we also look at current headlines and history's mysteries, a lot of stuff. If you like hanging out on Fridays, hang out with us after work on Monday nights. It is at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. It'll stream right here on Serious Joy or go to our Leading Out Loud YouTube channel as well. It's going to be fun. It's just going to get a lot better. By the way, the whole cast of Leading Out Loud will be at Unite the Light. We'll be up there on stage together at one point during this. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, Serious Joy, my personal Sensei service. You can, for just $3.99, start it off for 1 month. Give it a try. See if your life doesn't improve. All right. Everyone that I've ever talked to who's been in my service for more than 3 months, they said their life has completely turned around in just 90 days. That's all it takes. We have lots of features. In particular, we do special programming that airs exclusively to our app. One program that is the Angel Intervention with Devin Doer and Heather Exposito. This is a tag team reading between an angel reader and Heather. We were live with that last week. The ladies interviewed 3 of our subscribers. You have to be a subscriber of Serious Joy to be on these shows. But we talk about 3 people's issues, and Devin does the angels and Heather does the astrology, and the 2 ladies bring light in the situation. Similar to what you saw here at Josh, only angels instead of numbers. This week, you can tune in for Keeping It Surreal with Kristen Ryder. We're now calling it Keeping It Surreal. Kristen is going to be doing the topic of clearing negative energy in this week's show. How does one get rid of an entity? How does one clear something out of a home? How does one clear, negativity in an object, or whatnot? So we're going to talk about clearing, and we have 3 subscribers coming on camera. That will be live this Wednesday, May 8th, day before my calendar birthday, day after my step birthday, kind of funny. At 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at Serious Joy. Come to seriousjoy.com to be a subscriber right now and be a part of our family. Don't forget, you get a $33 discount on the streaming ticket if you're a Serious Joy subscriber. So you could literally make money basically by signing up. Incidentally, sharing is caring. The best thing you can do for us is just to share us with your friends and family. Share to all your friends that you just met Josh Seagal, and he's a great numerologist. Share that there's amazing horoscopes that come out on our channel every Tuesday. Just share. I mean, we're a word of mouth company, and we're grateful for that word of mouth. Thank you so much. If you want to hang out with us for free, we have a Facebook club. Just navigate to seriousjoy.club. We do allow authentic light workers to sell readings and products and services. The only rule is you have to have a website or something that officially states you. So do not reach out to our members and offer them a reading in a chat. We will boot you from the club. We are trying to keep this club clean with no shenanigans so that anyone who's in the club is trustworthy. Come on down to seriousjoy.club. We also have the Chiron study group where we study esoteric arts, headed by Princess Coffee Bean. If you want to follow me on social media, come to seriousjoy.social. That is our social linked tree. And if you'd rather listen instead of watch, I'm on podcast in an audio fashion. Podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. I want to say a very special thanks, first of all, to our guest tonight, Josh Seagal. Thanks for coming on, man. We love you. Our producer, Noel Way. Our casting director, Mara Moon, our director of TV services and behind the scenes here, pulling all the buttons, Sarah Lyman, who I found out was a 44-8 tonight. You got a little reading there, Sarah. And to my entire teaching staff, Heather Exposito, Daiki Okamoto, Gwen English, Joe Zamek, Robbie Hunt, Kristen Ryder, and Devin Doer. And then lastly, let's say a special thanks to all of our super chat friends. We've got Iggy and Nitu and Sydney and Christine Kelly and Jamar and Neptune Girl and Daryl Blankenship, my soul brother. I saw you moon in there, dude. Kat Ryder, Michelle Camper, Michelle Bell, Erica, Experimental Elemental, Lori Ship, Nikki Anderson. I know we just have so many friends. Libra and Lauren, Princess Coffee Bean, Jill Louise, Margot, Melia, and of course, Sydney, our favorite 22 out there. All right, friends. Well, this has been a remarkable show. I just want to put out there, I will be here next Friday, but for the Unite the Light week, that Friday, May 17th, I will not be on the air that week. There will be no Namaste today that week. So I think it's even better reason if you want to get your dose of the planets, you're going to have to coast on your own, sign up for Serious Joy, or come to Namaste. Come visit me and Unite the Light, all these brands. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Just giving you a heads up. Remember, I love you, and to live, love, be.